Hello and welcome to another episode of the Vault Dwellers Podcast. I am your host, MrMac. With me, as always, is Gary Moore. Gary, what's happening?
10 days to Christmas, can you believe it? The big man is going to be in his way soon. He's checking his list. Sean and Hoodie are getting fuck all. And this is episode 26 of the podcast, and it's a Christmas special. So here we go.
Christmas special indeed. Crack goes alcohol. I'm drinking a very aggressive looking Polish alcohol, if the camera's picking it up, because I get gifted by a colleague. So cheers and all the merry way, and welcome our Hoodie. Hoodie, what's happening?
Yeah, not much. Just, running around, losing my mind, trying to run the fucking Elf on the Shelf. It's just everywhere. He's gonna report me.
I would hate to see what kind of things that you would come up with for the health. If I'm going to be honest, that would I'm sure it would be the most amazing ideas that you come up with that, Hoodie.
Show up in your toilet.
Absolutely. Why not? Why the fuck not? Right, let's get cracking, man. Let's get cracking. I feel like we're just coming down off the year. It's just one of the episodes. Definitely get that festive feeling, that nice red background that we've got there. It's dead Christmassy, brilliant. We don't get that many video viewers, so none of yous will be correcting us on that's for sure. We obviously start the show as we always do, just introducing a little bit about the podcast. So we are three friends coming together, bringing you a whole host of different things, exploring the vaults of our minds, bringing you the best topics and only the most topical and seasonal reviews, just like today's episode, which is going to be the... I don't know if you pick up that drum roll because my microphone's pretty good and it doesn't pick up background noise, but I was stalling because I think Gary's trying to look for the drum roll. He might not find it. Oh, it's fucking... Oh, it's not quite funny. Not quite what I was, anyways. Home Alone 2, if you feel like you don't want to listen to us talking about the second one because you think, well, what happened in the first one? Jump back a year. We did this already. So yeah, we started with Home Alone 1, we've done Home Alone 2. I'm going to draw the line under Home Alone 2 and I'm not going to go any further than that because that's just how it is. And I am sure Hoodie will pick us a nice wee film for next year to review. We always try and review
Home Alone 3.
Home Alone 3, I could have fucking guessed that was going to happen. So usually we pick a film and we try and review that, but generally we kind of start with some other bits and pieces, as we always like to do. So like saying Halloween, we would, I think last year we done a review of Halloween film. This year we couldn't, Hocus Pocus, that is it. We couldn't quite tie it up this year. I think we did a topics episode this year instead, which was good. Always is. Bringing some topics and stuff to the table. Speaking of the table, we're actually looking to bring in some guests and stuff next year. We've been talking about doing that for a wee while now, and bringing Ben onto the podcast, things like that. And we'll also be on a number of occasions bringing back our good friend and lawyer Rahul. So be this part of his weekly shout out. So shout out to you, Rahul. Seeing he's been starting his streams again sporadically. He's a busy man. He's also started the gym as well, so shout out to him. I know that's not a kind of odd as an odd thing to shout out, but I think it's worthwhile mentioning because your man is at the gym, believe it or not, 11:30 and midnight kind of times. That's when he's at the gym, which is just absolutely crazy. That man is just something else. And if you are on Instagram, you should give him a wee follow because he's just started out. I can't remember his handle. I'll put that in the description below. And he's he's been sharing some good stories, some good inspirational stories to me anyway, some good gym stuff, and also some pictures where he was at a Christmas night out and he had the fucking best Christmas jumper I've ever seen, ever. And it was a nice spiral one, which was just amazing with all the snowflakes and whatever else. So, and I said to him, I said, Rahul, that's a fucking amazing jumper. And he's like, yeah, thanks. But they also said it's an excellent icebreaker in these networking situations. And I thought, that's fucking clever. You know what I mean? And the gaming circle that he's in, he chooses to wear a gaming. I wouldn't think of that. Just would not think about it. Just a crazy idea. Anyway, I want to show off my wee Christmas jumper for a wee second because I've donned it out there. Tuck it to me. And I didn't win the Christmas jumper competition this year, so I feel a wee bit down in heart about it, actually, to be honest with you. But because the person that won wore the jumper that I've been wearing for the last 3 years, so it's just.
Oh, what?
But there's a wee asterisk on that. The only reason he won is because he wore these Christmas trousers. So it's a Christmas jumper competition, and he wore Christmas trousers that has a wee elf face thing and arms as if he's carrying the guy about, and he's got that Christmas. So yeah, exactly, Hoodie. As funny as it is, it's not a fucking jumper. So
cheat.
It's a cheat. A fucking
You're
cheat.
right.
A cheat, and I demand a recount.
Wait until next year when Sean goes in as the inflatable turkey.
Mate, how good would that be if I got an inflatable costume? Oh, do you know what? Fucking.
Sitting there just with a wee head poking
I've got to write that down. It'll just be me all day going like that, blowing into the costume. Instead of a turkey, I'll just look at like a big pera. Anyway, right, so what we're going to do is start off with a wee bit of what have we been playing. So I'm going to just kick off with this because usually we throw it to Gary, but I love the sound of my own voice, so I'm just going to keep going. And thanks for that. So I noticed Gary's writing some fucking nonsense in this thing, so I'm just going to fucking delete that because just not having it. Anyway, can't stand for nonsense, right? He's unhappy because I never coordinated my Christmas jumper. I sprung it on him, and he's a bit seething. He's a bit seething.
I've got a good Star Wars one upstairs as well, but I'm not getting it now at a fucking protest.
So I'm going to start with a wee bit of what we've been playing, and we're going to cover this game in great depths later on, I'm sure, or in a future episode, I should say, in great depths. But Gary's going to touch on it as part of our next segment, so I'll keep it ever so brief, because we've been playing a game that we'll talk about shortly collectively, but I have been back on the grind with Baldur's Gate, and there's nothing that I really can say that's going to be more or improve on what we've already spoke about. What I will say is it's definitely one of the first games of this length that I've actually like sat and played it to the point of like I cannot, under any circumstance, I cannot put this game down without actually finishing it. Like, I've never done it in the last don't know how many years. Gary will speak to this himself, but I don't know how many games I've like started and then like a new game's came out and I'm like, I really want to play that game. This is the first game for I don't know how many moons that I'm like, no, I need to finish that before I can move on to anything else. And I don't know, I think I just have that kind of wee bit of a sense of pride about that, to be honest with you, because it's just, for one, it is that good, and for two, like, it's just that commitment of trying to grind it out and finish, and I'm relatively close. I don't think it's possible for me to hit the goal of finishing it before, you know, the end of the year, before Christmas, because I'm expecting a few games and some different things to drop, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to finish it. But I can't really say much more honestly, other than every single quest that you find makes you want to just keep going and keep doing that. Like, at no point am I like, I need to finish this in a hurry. It's like you're getting into a new area and you're finding these quest lines and none of them are any kind of level other than, fuck, I really want to pull that thread and follow that and find out what's happening, to the point that, almost to its detriment, that you kind of want to do everybody's side quest. And I spoke to Gary about this kind of off stream, like, or off podcast, whatever, offline, fucking in real life. So what I mean by that is you've got a party, and generally in an RPG game you stick to that party, and that is your party and whatever else. This game does a great thing where everybody levels up, like, as at the same time kind of thing, if you like. Well, not at the same time, but if you're level 8 and you go back in and somebody was level 2 the last time you used them, if you ask them to come back out with you again, you'll be able to level him up to level 8 and he can come out with you, and so you don't feel like there's that kind of negative side of bringing somebody out that hasn't been part of the party for the long time. And to be honest, you don't even really need them if you're doing like a character side quest, is where I'm going with this. You don't actually need them to be in your party. It's beneficial to have them for different, quotes and different ways that conversation can go and things like that. So having them in your party and then bringing them back out again, I feel like I would love to be able to be like, right, I'm not doing their quests, I want to focus on who like my party is, and we'll just do that this playthrough, and then I'll come back next time and I'll take a different floor and we'll do all their sidelines. But everything all kind of intertwines in such an interesting way that I'm like, I just can't put this down. I want to know everybody's end quest. I want to know everything about everybody, apart from Gale, he can fuck off, but everything else, like, I'm just so interested in everybody's stuff. And perhaps if there was like 2 or 3 good storylines that I left to my next playthrough, and I did take Gale on that one, I would explore his one, and maybe that's like how I would go with that. I don't know, but I guess the point is the game is absolutely phenomenal, to the point that I want to spend 100+ hours easily without even diverting to other games other than my golf, of course. So I'm not going to go much further with Baldur's, because we've said it all, and Gary will touch on it again on our next segment. But I'm going to kind of throw it to the guys, because I have been really talking enough. It's bloody 12 minutes in, you've not even heard these wonderful voices. So Gary, I know I've been playing this with you, mate, but you lead the charge. What have you been playing?
So a wee game decided to have a next chapter. We were like, do you know what? We were on the bandwagon for the old OG map. We were like, let's see what this new chapter's all about. Here comes Fortnite. Fortnite, not only does it come with a new map, it comes out with a Lego Minecraft game. Not only does it come out with a Lego Minecraft game, it comes out with a Guitar Hero clone. And not only does it come out with a Guitar Hero clone, it also comes out with a basically Rocket League kart racer. And it's like, holy shit. This game is just turned into one game into 4 games. And 4 games that I would probably play. But the game, the one that we have been focusing on as a party has been the Lego Minecraft Fortnite. And it's such a breath of fresh air for that game. It's just so good. Like, the only thing I don't like about it is you can't like manipulate the world around you, like the mud, and you can't dig up the dirt and stuff like that. That's the only thing that I feel like it's a wee bit crap. But everything else is pretty cool about it, and it's really quite interesting. I love the way the party goes, whereas it's like for example, Hoodie, and it was Mac, myself, Hoodie, and Jillian were playing, and me and Mr. Mac had the same village because we're lovers in that game, and then Jillian had her own village and Hoodie had his own village. But when they were, I think it was Hoodie was like upgrading his village, we could craft all the stuff that he unlocked, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. So it doesn't really like go, oh, you don't know how to make this yet because you'll know that level, and it's like, oh, I really enjoyed that. It just opens the game up more, and like if somebody like me, I'm pretty shit at these games, to be honest. But like Mr. Mac, he just builds everything that he can. He's like, oh, what, I can build something new. Let's get all the stuff to build this random new thing. And he done a new cupboard. You just sit there, So I quite like that, and I'm just really enjoying it. It's a game that we started last week, and ever since we stopped, I'm like, oh, I could go that again. Like, I could really have a good go on it. And it's weird because in my mind, I'm like, no, we should really be playing Fortnite. And then the other day, I started the Guitar Hero thing, and I was like, this is pretty good as well. I'm like, do you know what I need? I need a guitar. I need Fortnite to start selling a plastic guitar so I can start playing this like Guitar Hero again.
It's coming, dude.
That's
It's coming.
I can imagine. It's definitely a detriment. Is that actually a thing?
That's actually a thing. They're going to not only let you use your old peripherals, but they are planning to produce new ones that will be specific to Fortnite. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty. I mean, it's
Harmonix themselves too. Yeah.
That's pretty good, actually. Aye, they can maybe they can rebadge and then sell all their old fucking stock that's been stuck in a warehouse for the last 10 years.
Honestly,
you know what's funny? When I was playing it the other day, I was like, my wife used to love Guitar Hero, like everybody did at the time, you know. And I was thinking to myself, she would love this, but she wouldn't like it on the controller. I don't
even really like it on the controller, to be honest. Like, it's not I don't like it, but it's just I don't like what the buttons that they've chose, like the fact that it's like the left, right. It just can remap. Oh, can you?
You can remap.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, I'll try that.
Have done, and it does make a significant difference.
Right.
I still think overall it doesn't feel quite right, so I am hoping the peripherals like give it that energy that it's missing currently.
Yep.
But as far as like what it is for right now, I'm like, it's pretty impressive to take a game that started out as like a survival mode thing. It wasn't even a battle royale, and then have it turn into a battle royale that becomes the biggest thing in the world, and then decide, oh, we're gonna have every IP under the sun, and you know what, we've done that, so let's introduce Guitar Hero and Lego.
Right.
Okay. So I mean, for
and
what
kart
it
racer.
is on a platform. Oh, and a kart racer. I forgot about that one. Yeah. For something that didn't even start out at this game, and now having a Harmonix made like tap revolution, essentially, it does feel like mind blowing to me that they've even managed this. So I can imagine over time that's just going to keep improving. If I mean, the numbers for the Guitar Hero mode are the lowest out of the bunch, but again, I think that's a lack of catalog right now, and the peripherals not being there. But over time, if they manage to introduce those things, I feel like it has more potential than most. Probably more than the racing mode, even, where I jumped into that one and I was like, this is fun, but I'd be more interested to see what the Guitar Hero mode turns into versus this racing mode.
Can you imagine next year when they say next Christmas and they're like, here we go, folks. Remember Guitar Hero, everybody? I mean, all the people that don't play Fortnite, they now just say, and they're out there and they're going, look what we've got, a guitar, and we've got a Guitar Hero game that we've been working on for the last year, and look at the catalogue of songs we've got, because let's be honest, Fortnite can fucking get anything they want at basically this rate, it looks like, and they could be like, look, here it is, here's new, they could make the skins as well, they could make band skins, you know, like Iron Maiden skins, I was thinking about, like Eddie and stuff like that, or whoever, whatever band, any singer, like they can just start getting all these skins as well, and it's just a total revenue could just open right up. But I agree, they definitely need that guitar, a peripheral would definitely need something, because it would just change it just like that.
Yeah.
I think that would,
anyway.
That's what the conversation is. It's really just Fortnite in itself. I mean, we touched on it on last episode, and we went through all the different our experiences with Fortnite. So if you're interested in a more expanded conversation about Fortnite exclusively, then that that episode's there for you guys as well to have a wee listen to, because we touch on a lot of things from when we first started using it, playing it, to now, and I feel like that conversation's almost superseded and redundant, even just with this new with this new season. Like tenfold. So it's crazy that we could outdate ourselves by a fucking month.
Yeah.
With a game that's been going for like what 4 year, 5 year, whatever it is. So
Do you know what's so funny? See, when that chapter was coming to the end, the OG map, I was sitting saying to you, I was like, oh, that's it. They're going to end it and it's going to say, like, this is Fortnite 2. And I'm thinking to myself, like, but in my mind, I'm like, it's just going to be maybe a bigger map, maybe more in it. You know,
right.
maybe just, I don't know, like, I'm just expecting a Battle Royale again with, like, maybe more stuff to do in it. And then they go and they just make fucking 4 games in one. I'm like, fucking hell, man.
Yeah, I think since the new season dropped, we played like 1 round, something like that, and the actual like Fortnite playing that, and then obviously we did our kind of usual Friday jam, and we straight into Lego and just kind of never looked back. You know, spent last Sunday just farming and crafting and having Mikeless Gary jump into my game and chase me out in the desert. I don't even know what happened to him. I don't know how he managed to get into the desert. If he just spawned next to me because I was miles away. Like, I never even spoke to you about that. Like,
No,
did you
I
spawn?
just ran.
You
No,
just
I
ran?
just ran. I just obviously with the map, I can only see where you've unlocked. So
Right.
I just followed your entire map all the way up.
Did you not start
then I
dying?
just found you. I died after that.
Oh, right, okay. Because I was like,
I just ran away from everything.
because I was like, I don't even know how he's surviving here, because I managed to figure out all the different plants and what you need to have and pick and day for to be in different zones and stuff like that. So, it's just there's some crazy stuff in that game, and there's some glitches I've kind of discovered that's helped things at the start as well. So I'm hoping they don't patch. But I think there's, as I say, a crazy amount of different stuff. You know, we built this big kind of fancy house. Now I managed to get all the stone and whatever else to build one of the houses for Pleasant View, I think it is. And Hoodie thankfully saved us from a big faux pas in this game, and it was to make sure you build in an area that has a lot of flat land. And I think that's my only comment and only point of the game, that it is quite difficult, even in a place that I would say we were in a relatively flat place, but even like how some of the things like place and connect, like I built the house and I built a garage next to it, and then I had to like make all this like custom janky stairs, like steps to get in and out of all the different things. So I kind of wish there was just a tiny wee bit more finesse when it comes to. I don't mind having to add a wee set of stairs or something for somewhere, but like it just kind of like breaks the mind or a wee bit when you're like, oh, well, I've got these open doors. Like I want to make it flat. You know,
just a wee bit of terraforming, just a wee tiny bit.
Something.
I was the same. I built a fence all the way around to I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I haven't.
I built a big massive like fort all the way around to our wee town, if you like. And I got right to the end and I met them up and it wouldn't work. And it was saying there was something in the ground and I was like, there's fucking nothing there. It was literally the last bit. So I literally had to take like half that wall away and I had to build it in front of it, and then I had to build it like that, so it was like one was in front of the other one, then I had to like join it like kind of squintly, and I was like shit, but it was the only way I could do it, and I was like, it's so annoying because there's this invisible thing in the ground that I just can't plant something there. It's just stupid, but I know I say what I'm saying at the start, like I think the only thing that is Minecraft is that you can actually terraform the place and you can, there's no block here, boom, there's a block. And that's you fixed and made it flat. That's the only issue it has got, but everything else is pretty fucking good to know.
Yeah, I think for the level that it is, like I can forgive it, I'm sure you can as well, but I can forgive it for not having that, just because I can imagine what it would do like for their servers and all that nonsense. For like obviously Minecraft is the same thing, and that's what it does. This is something that's just within something else, and the tools and things that we've got to know is what it is. I mean, I've seen some stuff I've been sending to Gary, but a lot of it's like people that are making these flying things. Like I've seen people that have made like monorails that go in between things. I've seen people that have made like the Death Star, and I've seen people that have made these flying ships, like literal big flying ships that they fly about the place, and planes, and you know what I mean. Like we have to run everywhere, you know. So we've still got a wee bit to go before we can make it complicated. But I'm pretty positive that exploring something once people have kind of cracked the code a wee bit and we've unlocked a wee bit further stuff, but it's still interesting.
The other thing I keep thinking about this is literally this game has only been out a week.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's already to go so much stuff in it already. I mean, Minecraft would be fucking loving it if they came out like this.
Yeah.
And it's a strong start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. So my only my passing point for I throw it to Hoodie for his final thoughts, and then his other game is my top tip that I've stole for somebody else, and it's for your tools. I don't know if you guys are aware of this one yet or no, but if you're using like a piece of weaponry or whatever, two tips. If you're using a piece of weaponry like a sword or an axe or pickaxe, whatever, for cutting things down, and you've upgraded it to the higher level, if it's just about to run out, go to the you can get like the NPCs whatever to like follow you around and fight with you and explore with you and stuff. You can gift them that sword, and that sword they now have an improved sword that doesn't break because they just always use it. Their tools don't break, so they'll have an improved sword or an improved axe, or an improved pickaxe, and they'll be able to run about with you. So I was running about with one of the guys in our wee town, and he was fighting everything for me, and he was just two-hitting all the skeletons and loving life. But the second tip, the best one, if your equipment is again just about to expire, like your pickaxes and stuff, craft a chest and put the item in the chest, and then break the chest, and the item will come out and it'll be back to full health again, and you just equip it again.
Really?
So, yeah, really.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that.
So I was going around and with my pickaxe, and so it means you can go to the caves with one pickaxe and enough wood or enough planks to make a chest, and then just put the chest down, put the pickaxe inside it, break the fucking thing, and then you've got a full health pickaxe. So top tips out there. Make sure you like this fucking video. If I find out you've used that and you haven't liked this video, I'm going to come into your villages and I'm going to break every fucking thing. Okay, so make sure you go and like the video and leave a comment saying thanks for the chest. I'm glad you discovered that tip. Okay, I never found that. I fucking made that one. Right.
Vault Dwellers exclusive.
Vault Dwellers exclusive. Hoodie, my friend, if you've got anything else on this one, or you want to move straight on to your other game, take it away.
I'm gonna add that I think this is the best Lego game we've gotten that feels like Legos. There was Lego Worlds a few years back, which I really enjoyed. I did feel like it was somehow super ambitious and still didn't quite meet this like unobtainable standard in my head of what I wanted a Lego game to feel like if it was to be building Legos. And I think this figured that out. It's a contained world enough, but I love the way that they make it feel like, oh yeah, you can freeform, build whatever you want, do whatever you want, but here's also the manual book. Because that's the thing that I love about Legos. I like opening that little booklet and then going page by page and, oh, here's step 1, here's step 2. Put 1 brick here, 2 bricks here. Yep. And this game does that really, really well. I was playing Lego 2K, I think that's 2K Drive. It's the PlayStation Plus Essential Game of the Month or whatever it's called. And I was playing that, and you could build any car you want, however you want, and you could do it brick by brick if you wanted to. But even that had that same little bit of like, there's something that isn't capturing what it feels like to build Legos, and I can't figure out what it is. And I do think it's the manual, and I think that's what's so smart about this Fortnite mode, where it is like, I can build a cabin, or they'll give me piece by piece what I need to do to build this cabin, and I think that's really fun. And like a little bit of the onboarding is obtuse, where I don't feel like it's all the way there to being accessible. I do think, oh, you can see where you're supposed to put the next piece, but you have to press circle to back out, and then you have to press X, but then you forget that you have to press X to do that first before you can place it, so you're pressing X and then X again. It sounds confusing when you're playing it. I think you know what I'm talking about. So like with just little life improvements over time, this out of all of the modes they introduced was easily the one that I was like mesmerized with. This is a magical mode of like, oh wow, you guys really understand Lego in a way that I don't think a lot of people have quite gotten there. Outside of like playing Lego Star Wars or Lego Indiana Jones as a kid and loving those. I mean, even playing with Ben when they had the remasters, I think they were, for Lego Star Wars. Those are so much fun and awesome, but it is kind of like we're playing a action adventure game that happens to be Lego. It isn't a Lego game. So it's just been really fun to experience that as somebody who has grown up with Legos, still buys Legos, plays with Legos here and there, and like knowing how much IP they have and being able to actually realize what it was like playing as a kid, where I had, SpongeBob and Star Wars and all these different characters hanging out in a bar that I made. Like, that's crazy to think that can be now in a digital age where you can have your Ghost Rider skin from Fortnite and your Ninja Turtle skin that just dropped, and they can both be in Lego form as well as the Battle Pass or whatever have you. Like, all of that's really cool. So I'm very excited for the future of what they do with Fortnite Lego. And for, like Gary said, like, it's a week in and this is already what they have. Like, that's crazy. Like, I know they've been working on this for years, but again, it's a game within a game, and this game is free. Like, that blows my mind. It really does. It really, it's impressive. But yeah, I love it. I'm excited. I'm excited for what they do with it. Other than that, I have been playing something else though, and let me tell you, this one's gonna be the biggest he was late to the party moment of any podcast that we've made, where I think it's over a decade. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Call me out. Dead Space. This is a game I've never played. I got over Black Friday. They had a special on EA Play or EA, one of these subscription services.
For the original one or the remake?
The remake. I didn't buy the remake. I bought the EA subscription to play for a month for $1, which I was like,
very nice.
Well, sign me up. And I started by playing Peggle 2. And I was like, oh man, I love this. You know what? I should try out an actual fully fledged game instead of just playing Peggle 2 for an entire month. And so I'm downloading Dead Space, and I'm like, am I going to like this? I don't know. I don't do well with horror games. I get scared real easily. I could watch all the horror movies I want, but when it comes to a game, I shit myself. And you know what? It's not fun. So I download it. I boot it up. It's
very messy.
It's late at night. It's off to very messy. It's off to a bad start. I'm getting scared. I'm hearing the noises that those little creepy things that they make. Mm-hmm. And then about an hour or two in, it clicks when I get this new gun. And let me tell you what. They introduce guns that I think, oh, nothing could be better than this gun. Nothing could be, and they just get better and better, and I think that's what started to hook me. And then it was, I'm invested in Isaac's story. I need to know what's going to happen to Isaac. And do we get off this ship? I don't know, but shit's going down, and I gotta save everybody. I'm a hero. I started to really get into this game, and I know people have praised it and loved it forever. I've never played it, and jumping into this remaster, it's beautiful, and I'm very happy that this was my first experience with it, because I do think this was the best version of it, where I learned that Isaac doesn't talk in the original, which blew my mind. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, but he's such a pivotal character to this story. Like, that'd be really weird if people were like, Daniels is going like, Isaac, you need to get to the room. What's going on? Just dead silence. Like, I don't want to. What was supposed to happen here? So like, yeah, it was just this engrossing experience that I started to even take into like a fourth wall, where I have a light that can change colors if I tell it to, and so I was like turn light red, and my whole room is like red, and like it's an emergency system alert, and I'm going through hallway to hallway, just like pulling up the flashlight on the end of my gun and just like inching around corners and just taking them out. And like by the end of it, having the force gun and just like evaporating people, it was so good. The gameplay's so good. The story was really good. I hear there's an alternate ending too, which for replayability was an intriguing thing. I don't think I could manage to go back to it because it was an intense game. I was very much like, whew, okay, all right, let's take a break here.
I felt like that.
But yeah, well, yeah, like I said, I'm super late to this party, but finally being here, I was like, wow, this was fucking awesome. So much so that I was like thinking, I don't think I've had that experience all year. Like I've played all of the games that I wanted to, aside from Alan Wake 2, which I'm still looking forward to. But like, there's not been that game that I've played all the way through that just has really hit with me that I'm like, whoa, that was it. Right? When I played Tinykin last year, or God of War Ragnarok, which they were neck and neck, same game pretty much. But both those games were very similar to me. Of like, when I got done with them, I did feel like, oh man, that was a great experience. Tinykin I bought again on PlayStation and platinumed it this year. Of like, I love this game, right? And by the end of Dead Space, I was like, this might be one of the greatest games I've ever played. Like, holy shit, this feels so good that it just instantly became my game of the year for this year for me personally, where I was like, wow, I don't know what was missing from everything else, but whatever this thing did really captures it. So I hope we get more remakes of these games, because I'd like to play the rest of them at this point. I'm like, you know what? Sign me up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I don't know how many there are, but I'm hoping it's 6 of them. Yeah, that's
half that, isn't it?
Really,
it's 3 in it.
It's 3.
Definitely 3. Yeah, I played some of the first one, and I get too stressed out. Is that the one? I don't know if it's the same mechanic where you can run out the auction things. Is that right?
Yes, there is a part that you stay on at auction. Yes.
Is that still a thing though?
Let me tell you. Is that a thing? Yes, it is. There's many parts of this, and it was very stressful when you're like 70 seconds down, but you're so close to refueling this turret that you're like, do I just risk suffocating to just finish this mission? I don't know. Maybe. Yes, I am. And like,
that's absolutely what I was most stressed out about.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and they have stasis as well, which is another thing that I kept forgetting that I had, first of all. But like, the idea of like, how do I get through this? And then it clicks in your head, oh, stasis. Oh, I used it to stop the 3 other enemies. Now I don't have any. So now what do I do? Like, it's all about like micromanaging. I haven't played any of the Resident Evil games, but I heard that's similar to that, of like, you have to make sure your resources matter and count towards like where you're going and what you're going to do. So planning is a big part, and that's what this became, because it was, I only have so many slots. I can't take all of my guns with me, so I'm going to take these 4. These are the ones that I'm keeping on my backpack, on my person at all time. So it's like, I liked all of that stuff, and that was really fun.
I feel we touching on that point there with Resident Evil. I feel like when I played 1 or 2, so I don't have the experience probably that Gary does, but I feel like in that game you at least have like somewhat of a backup plan, or somewhat of a plan B thing. Like there's no fucking plan V to oxygen, you know what I mean? So it's just that it's just that thing.
The older Resident Evils was very much like that. It was very much that you only got like 10 bullets, and it was like, now fucking suffer. You know? But 7 and 8, I believe you get a lot more action orientated than survival, I feel like.
Well, it also became this thing when playing Dead Space that I had like reserves. So if I ran out of oxygen, I could pop an oxygen tank or whatever to refuel midway through or whatnot. But then it was, you have shops in the game and you can sell those things. And I was like, there's an upgrade for 12,000, or I could run out of air. Which one do I want to do more? Like, can I budget having 50% ammo instead of 100% ammo, and I sell half of this in order to get a suit upgrade, because will that help me later on? And like, I spent so much time doing that it did make me want to go look for things. I already kind of go around and look everywhere that I possibly can when I play video games, but it was like a necessity of, I need to find a node. Like, I need to. If I don't, this gun will get me killed later on, because it's just not going to be strong enough against like a horde of aliens with 19 heads and venom. So it's like, I liked that level of it. It was a game that just isn't for me generally. Like, the rule of scary is not one that I abide by. So having it hit the way that it did was like such a, I don't know, revelation, where I was like, oh shit, okay. And it did make me more excited for Alan Wake 2, where I was like, by the end of it, I think I should just jump into this one. But then I was like, I should also take a break.
I think you need to give yourself a chance for your heart rate to drop a wee bit.
Yeah, so I jumped into Burnout Paradise, and let me tell you what, greatest racing game of all time. Everybody should play it.
I've actually I've downloaded Alan Wake. I know that's another game I've never played either, but somewhere down the line, I think, because I'm very aware of the fact that I haven't finished Bioshock, and I just feel like I need to go back to that as well. I made a promise that I was going to stream this year, and I still haven't done it, so it's just, that's what it is. I'll keep bringing it up until it becomes a reality.
Still waiting for my review on
maybe
that
next
game
year.
You said you were going to review.
So did I.
It
was a golf. It was a golf game that I was going to do. It's like the first game I played on the Steam Deck. But do you know what happened? I just started playing other games on the Steam Deck. So fuck your review. Is that us for what we've been playing? My camera keeps sticking, by the way, so if you've been watching, it's very good to see some of the poses that I'm stuck in, because this camera is perfect. This is really good. I actually really like that one. I feel like you might want to take a screenshot of that before I change it in literally 3 seconds, but it's got to change. That was good. I like that. Right. Okay. Right. So we'll move on then from the what have we been playing segment. Now I want to put a wee intermediate segment in here, because I've often wondered, and I'm wondering if yous have also often wondered, have you ever wanted to introduce your clothes to other people? Well, now is your opportunity with Hoodie's Hoodie. It's all the comfort of wearing a hoodie without all of the discomfort of having to tell people you're wearing a hoodie. Now, if you're wondering what the fuck I'm talking about, click onto the YouTube video, click onto the 43-minute mark, which is around about the time that it is right this second, and feast your eyes on this wonderful hoodie. And I'm going to scroll down there, and I'm going to do this best that I can do with the little window that I've got on the screen. But you'll see here that we've got Hoodie's Hoodie with your front badge of hello, my name is Hoodie, which is fucking phenomenal, and then this back design, which is even more phenomenal. Now again, I'll try and zoom out a wee bit so you can see the full idea, but again, I'm missing the side, so you're just going to need to imagine that you can see the rest of it, because I'm not editing the thing, but you get the idea. If you head over to Hoodie's Instagram page, which is on Cadoctopy, so instagram.com/Cadoctopy, is Hoodie's fucking amazing art, which again you can only see like a third at best on my screen right now, so that gives you 2/3 of a reason to go onto his Instagram to see the other thirds, right? That's maths for you. And I actually wanted to put a segment in here just in general, just basically to say fucking well fucking done, by the way, Hoodie.
Yep.
Directly well fucking done for posting something every fucking day of the year for a full year. That is absolutely fucking phenomenal. I'm still scrolling, and there's still stuff in here that I've seen or not seen all the way up, and I don't even know. I've been scrolling for forever, and I'm only as back as 33 weeks ago, back in April. So again, committed, more than committed. The growth that you can see and even this work over the last year, Hoodie, is just ridiculous. So hats off to you, mate. The commitment beyond anything else is just absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, shout out to you, mate. Something that often goes unnoticed on the podcast is Hoodie's amazing bits of artwork that he posts for the thumbnails. Hoodie does. All thumbnails have a very good in common theme about them. Absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. The work that Hoodie puts in to the artwork side. So yep, shout out to you, mate, and keep it up, keep fucking smashing it.
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you guys.
Absolutely. Not a fucking problem. Gary, your art's been fucking brilliant as well, by the way. Let me just say that, just to put it out there, but absolutely fucking phenomenal. I'm just here pressing buttons and hitting record. Hopefully that's not it's recording this time. That's good, right? So
I'll tell you what, I'm privileged enough to have a Gary Moore original hanging on my wall right now. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. If you ever get the opportunity, reach out to Gary. Figure out a way, get yourself one to put on your wall, because they're phenomenal.
That's it. Now shipping globally, we've figured out a way of doing it. Gives Gary anxiety.
Yes.
Gary's figured it away, and it's absolutely ridiculous that how he managed to get something there on time, but. Ridiculous.
I'm in first name basis with UPS.
Yep, he's got contacts. He's got contacts now, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
He actually flies them to your house personally.
It does.
I fucking might the next time, by the way.
It does. It might be cheaper in terms of your time. We could probably say that more than anything else. But Gary has done some really good pieces. Obviously recently he's done some stuff for a friend of ours, common friend of ours. I'll just flash the other thing up on the screen now, which Hoodie was talking about. So a Gary Moore original, again, you can't fucking see it, but I'm just going to go like that because you can see it there. We showed this on the socials at the time, so yeah, definitely get that checked out. He didn't paint this. Don't know what the fuck he's on about posting that. He's at it. He's at it. Look, there's another one. He didn't paint this either. What a fucking farce. Get this fucking page off. Get him away. Right, okay. So Gary Moore and our Hoodie fucking smashing it as usual. Right, talking about smashing it. Let's move on to our next segment. And Gary's going to get sex. That's it, right? Right. I was going to say Gary's going to lead it. Step it up. So we did a wee award last year, and collectively we decided that each person's going to select the game of the year moving forward. So Hoodie picked an absolute belter last year. He's already mentioned it in this podcast. I think he mentions it every podcast, but
absolutely.
He's definitely mentioned it. So our last year, our 20 out of 10 award went to Tinykin, which was an absolute phenomenal game. And this year, my absolute masterpiece. This year, Gary insisted. He offered it to me, but he did insist. Thinly veiled, insisting that he gave it this one because it was just. Oh look, there's me making a really good, sensational pose again on the webcam. I'm telling you that you should be watching this because that looks like I'm having an absolute joy in announcing something.
Let's paint me like one of your French girls.
Aye, it's coming to some sort of conclusion. I'm a split second away from the vinegar stroke, as somebody calls it in my work. Gary Moore, take it away, my friend. The 20 out of 10 award.
This year, 20 out of 10 award. Can you believe it? We're here again. End of the year, 20 out of 10. I said to Sean, I know you want this one, but hold back. Gary's got to go for it. It has to be a game we've already talked about today. Has to be Baldur's Gate 3 by Larian. What to say? What can we say about this game that we've no said in the podcast? I've been talking about it for the last 3.5 months. It took me to complete. This game is one of these games that comes along and you think to yourself, fucking hell, you've just changed the landscape of gaming. And that's what this game is. This is a game that I literally switched on and I was like, this game is the most refreshing game I have played in about 6 years. The last time was probably Red Dead Redemption 2. If it wasn't 6 years ago, sorry for my maths, it might have been 5. But Baldur's Gate is just an amazing game. Larian deserve all the credit that they're getting. And I know people are saying, they took 2 years and it was in pre-development and blah, 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 blah. Who cares? This game is fucking phenomenal. Phenomenal. And this is why it gets phenomenal. That's why... I just got a coffee strike. That's why... That's why this game of the year for the Vault Dwellers podcast goes to Baldur's Gate 3. 20 out of 10 award. Let's go. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything to that. But
I would like to add. It's the air horn from Flubber. This is one of those games, like you said, changed the landscape for me personally. Loving RPGs, but not understanding that what I had been playing for all these years weren't RPGs. This is an RPG. A way of like, wow. I mean, I've talked about it before, but like just even that one segment with Ben, understanding that I could change everything that he had done within minutes or hours. It doesn't matter when or where or how, but it will change. And even hearing stories has been such an exciting thing that I don't think I've gotten out of video games. I know people always talk like, oh, I love the conversation around Breath of the Wild or any of these other games. Like, oh, what was your experience building that? Like, that to me has never connected. I don't get that. It's not my kind of like circle. But this is the one where I was like, I really want to know what happens if you talk to that cow. I really want to know what happens if you didn't talk to that cow, but talk to a chicken. Like, even the littlest thing in the world that they built, based on, like, D&D, like, all of that stuff is so mesmerizing to me of how different and of the variety and just the length of things can go, too, which is
That's what she said.
Unbelievable feat. Which is an unbelievable feat. Where it boggles the mind to think how much writing went into this. And for it to not just be, oh yeah, there's tons of writing, but 90% of it is pretty bad, and then like there's a good 10%. Almost all of it is great. And I don't even think I've scratched the surface on half the stories that you can get out of this game. But every time I hear something from a MinMax or from Ben or Gage or either of you telling us about what your adventures were that day or what point you're at, and then you going, oh, I'm also at that point. Oh yeah, what's happened for you? Whoa, I have not done any of that. I mean, even watching over the last weekend, watching Matt start the trial, Matt Ferguson, Fergie21, he's a great artist. Watching him start the trial and then him sharing his gameplay and seeing him just walk past a character that I knew was there and he didn't, and he'll just never know that character was there. Like, it's just that character's gone now, and that's the end of it. And it's like, well, that character is also on the box art, and you can just walk away from them, and they're gone.
I did.
Like, that's insane,
Absolutely
right?
did.
Like, that's mind-boggling
I've
to
read,
me.
I read that character actually appears like further in the game as well. If you miss him there, he appears later in the game. So can you imagine coming across that main character without knowing any of the gaming stuff that maybe Gary knows, but like coming across him like just say 75, 80 hours later? That's crazy, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah, because you do get to those points where you're just thinking, wow, okay, I think I've seen all that I can see. And then you end up going into a chest that you think is just going to have a little bit of loot, and then inside is a bottle, and then you open the bottle, and inside the bottle is some boss fight. Like, it's just a random bottle in a chest in a random area of that. Like, you can just not have this boss fight. That could just not be a thing. And it's not a side quest. It's not something you know about. It's just a trinket for all intents and purposes. Like, that is the level of dedication and craft. And like you were saying, oh yeah, they've been doing it for 2 years. Well, if that's what it takes to get this, everybody should do that. Because I think a lot of games, Jedi Survivor is one of those games that released this year, broken as all hell. And it is just a disaster how many games, Travesty, how many games are releasing in like this disaster form where you're like, how are we justifying this? And then, what's the studio's name again?
Larian.
Larian Studios releasing this game at the technical level that it is, as big as it is, with how much there must be behind the scenes in that code going on. That is so fucking impressive. It cannot be understated.
Yeah, across multiple different platforms as well. You might add, the fact that it came out obviously on PC, and to be honest, it probably belongs on PC as much as I have played it there. But just that kind of the way that different items and the way you need to kind of maneuver different things. Obviously, you don't need to do any like weapon strikes or anything, or any like important clicks. So it does survive on the console very well, but in terms of like being able to like manage inventory and do all these kind of long form things that would happen to take longer on the console, like it doesn't feel like it's like a hindrance or anything like that. They definitely do like a good job with some of like the quick buttons and different things. So it's
sorry, no, you go.
I've played games like jumping between, like like just for example with City Skylines. I've played on the PC and the console, and trying to like jump between the two of them, they don't do like the best job in trying to like make things like transfer over to like a controller in the way that the buttons kind of map out, because they're very limited, of course, in terms of that kind of thing. And it's not like a get out of a jail free card to put like a freeform cursor on the thing. Like, they don't ever need to do that in this game. Everything just kind of clicks.
Yep.
Yeah.
And another thing is they listen to the community like so well. That's something that I was always seeing. The Game Awards and stuff came up. I was like, that was the thing I was wanting to really vote for them for, was their community involvement, because they are so good with the community. Like the game came out, and I played it for about a week or two, right? And at some point, I leveled my character up, and he got a trait. And I didn't realise this, but when I got this trait, it changed his jewellery he was wearing in his face. Now, I was playing as an orc barbarian, and it changed the jewellery in his face, but I didn't realise that's how it changed. And I kept sending pictures to Sean, and I'm like, they've got this like gold jewellery on my face. I was like, I didn't have that on. I just had like spikes in his ears for earrings. And I was like, I didn't have this. I was like, where's this came from? And I was like, oh, this is so annoying, because this doesn't even look like my character anymore, because he was wearing like big gold jewellery on his face. And I was like, what the hell is this? And it was about a week later, I stopped playing it for a wee while just with work and stuff, and I went back to it, and that week, a week, so we talk about maybe 3 weeks it was out, they'd done a full, when you go into your camp, you can actually change your character and stuff now. And I was like, 3 weeks they managed to do that. Sometimes that takes a game about a year a day. And I just like, they just listen to people so much. And not even that, the next time I went on it, like a couple of months later, they added more stuff. So if you want to go and change his name or your character's name, they added that in it. So they just, every time they just listen to their community and everything. And it was a glitch. It was a glitch I was playing, and it was near the end of the game, and I had Shadowheart with me, and she kept no following me, and I was like, what the hell's happening here? I was like, every time she was in my party, as soon as I like spawned into a location, I would run away, and my other two characters would run with me, but Shadowheart would be away back there, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with her? So I took her out the companion, and took somebody else, and it was about 2 days later, I went back on the game, and it was like, oh, hot fix, sorry, we gave Shadowheart into trouble, we told her that she needs to start following yous again, and then they patched it back in, and I'm like, that like literally 2 days that only took, and I'm like, it would maybe be annoying if you were at like proper endgame and you were trying to do it, but for me it was fine because it's just the way I was playing it. But I was like, that's just how involved they are in the community, how quick they're, like Fortnite quick. It's like something's wrong, boom, we're fixing it. It's no like, oh, we're going to fix this in fucking 3 weeks time, and they're just so on it, and it's just this game, I love it.
I think you're touching on a great point that not normally I'll notice, but whoever their community manager is and like that team over there are so good. Like, they are so good at not only being able to speak to their community, like you're saying, fix things within the game within a prompt time, but also understanding what needs to be fixed or leaning into the fun of things that people are having. Like, I think a lot of the time there will be a disconnect where the studio and the devs are all talking to each other, and then the community's talking, and they're taking bits and pieces from everywhere, but none of it is quite getting to the full picture. Instead, it's like grains of sand that get back to make a quarter of a sand castle. And this, it just feels like they're making mountains and mountains of content for free, and updates that are free, and taking in feedback that changes the game in a way that makes the game better most of the time. Like, I think a lot of that is due to their team over there and how well they understand how much you give to the community versus not giving anything and just listening to your own like gut. Because I do think that's also a thing that needs to happen. You can't listen to fans 24/7. Everybody thinks they have the next great idea, but they don't. So it is like them being able to balance that in a way where it is like, no, that is smart, and we should implement that. Versus, well, we took this out, and you trust us, you're gonna be glad we took this thing out, kind of thing. And also just like the level of humor that they have within that whole ecosystem of their fan base, and like their marketing was amazing. Like their taglines were great. If you've ever read their terms of service, it's hilarious. There are so many things buried in there of like, by signing this contract, you're like, you're part of the Guild of Gold or something, and you have to play a flute, or it's like some wild like quest log which is in their terms of service, which is like they're having fun, and it's coming across as they're having fun. So it makes this game more enjoyable altogether. Whether or not you were going to enjoy it either way, it's like this is just an extension that makes it better. Like knowing that team is great.
One of the first trailers they ever showed, like before the game came out, was the person like kicking the squirrel to death, and also the people sleeping with a
the bear
person who can turn into a bear. And that was like literally that one of the trailers that they showed. And
that's what I'm saying, man.
When you're playing it, it's such a serious game as well. Like it's very serious, and like to put these humor moments in it is really funny.
It's such a smart way that they went about it. Of like, their big sell on this game is, well, you could fuck a bear. Like, are you sure that's what you want to market it as? But they knew what they had, and I think they understand what their target audience was, and if they could, by proxy of their hitting their target audience, get the word of mouth to spread. And they understood that so well, because it does become that thing of like I started with, I just kind of want to know what that next person's story is. Like, even outside, if I had my own, I would much rather also have all of that information. Because I think a lot of the time, like I said, when I play a game, it's like in this bubble, and that's my experience, and that's the end of it. In this, it is, none of us are the same, even though we're all on the same path. And that's super cool, because even when a game like Mass Effect came out, I don't think I sat around thinking, I wonder if their shepherd died, or their shepherd lived, or they fucked my girlfriend Tali. I don't know. But in this, I am like, did you fuck the bear? I need to know. Like, how did that play out for you? Like, all those things are so much fun. I mean, down to just because as minimal spoilers as possible, right? Like, having that first, like the crashed ship for Cthulhu, or Mind Flayer, sorry. The Mind Flayer ship crashing at the very beginning of the game, and like getting to that body that's strapped to the chair, and you're like, well, he's talking. What's going to happen here? And then it being like, you can extract this thing, and I won't say what the thing is, but the way that can go even is like, well, what would have happened if I had done this? Does make me, and I don't usually do this, but it did make me go, I'm going to save scum this. I need to play this again. I need to know. Like, I have to know. Everything they do is interesting. All of it. Even when I lost, it was interesting. Like, oh, man, that sucked. Well, now I need to know what happens if I succeeded. Because that'll also branch a whole new storyline. And let me tell you what, succeeding on that one thing, which I will not spoil what it is pretty fucking great. Like, holy shit.
You say that already, but I've never played a game where I think it was literally maybe a month and a half I'd been playing it, and then Sean was quite slow playing it at the start, and Ben as well. I don't think they were as far as what I was, but it was the first time that we all kind of got together again, and we were talking about it, and we're just talking about like the first 4 or 5 hours of the game, and all 3 years have done completely different things, and not only was it completely things, it totally changed the world that we were in. Like, companions were treated different. Maybe some people got a companion, I didn't get a companion. Sean, for example, fell out with a companion before he even got the chance to recruit a companion, and the world just totally changed. And it was just, I actually can't believe that we were playing the same game, because when we were talking about it, they sounded like completely different experiences, and that's what that's just what this game. Like, I just feel sorry for any other game now that's going to try and make an RPG, because fuck me, the first game that comes out and I play it's an RPG, I'm going to go, oh, that wasn't Baldur's Gate, and that's what it's going to be. That was the same with Red Dead Redemption. I played Red Dead Redemption, and then I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey right after it, and I could not play Assassin's Creed Odyssey after it. I was like, oh my god, that game is so shit compared to Red Dead Redemption 2, and I feel this is what's going to come now. Baldur's Gate's ruined everything for me.
100%. I should just before you think of it, we'll let you back in for a closing thought, because I wanted to shepherd us on to the main event, mate. But if you've got one last thing on the Baldurs, then we'll cue that one up.
For me?
Yeah, just in case you had anything else.
Okay, yeah. One last thing. If it looks like a game that you wouldn't play, try a trial. If there's a demo available to you on PC or Xbox, I don't know, but for PlayStation, they're Plus members, you can download the trial. Highly recommend, because it is one of those things that I looked at. I said, that's not a game for me. It's like a top-down or isometric, however you want to, I don't know how you refer to it, but it is, I can pull the camera in straight over my shoulder, that it just becomes a third-person action game. And then you go, oh, man, yeah, but you're like taking turns rolling a dice. I don't know if that's for me. You're choosing. Trust me. Everything I felt was probably where you're at if you look at this game for the first time and aren't into that genre. Because once I got into that world, I realized this is just an action game, and I can play it that way if I want to. It doesn't feel like any other of these like real-time strategies or whatever have you that I've ever experienced, because I think that is a big turnoff. What definitely was for me until I played it. And I think this is one that it's like, if there is a demo of some kind and you can try this out, or a friend has it and they can let you play it, try it. Because I do think the overall experience is one that every person who loves video games should be able to play in their lifetime, because it's unlike anything.
Also, just one last thing to comment is, it was a brand new game, and they discounted it. Like, it wasn't discounted, they just came out like less price than everything else, and it just blows my mind to think that they took less money for this game, when it's probably the best thing it's been out in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
You don't. In fairness, you don't know like what. You kind of play it back and figure out if less people would gave it a chance if it was my money or anything like that. So it's kind of one thing to be said. But they've done everything right. Hopefully they've made a pretty penny and all that kind of good stuff. So Gary, as we raise a glassmate, 20 out of 10 award goes to
Baldur's Gate 3.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Okay. Now, the next segment. I should say, and I didn't agree with Gary. So
he did.
I didn't. Gary wanted to call it, if it was within a point, he wanted to call it a draw, and I'm not having it, even though it didn't go my way. I'm just not having it, because I would have claimed the victory if it went the other way. So it's just what it is. It's what it is. So I gave the goose away in the intro, so I'm going to fling this up on the screen, because on my last game, which was Super Mario RPG Remake, it scored a relatively low 84 for the Nintendo games, which leaves Gary at 163. So you see that Gary's at 163 over 162 for the Vault Dwellers Fantasy Critic League. So we round of applause for our Gary. Clap, clap, clap.
So what I was going to say was, right, Sean, I said, say if I won by a point, I wouldn't gloat.
That's not true.
If you actually look on the points, if you actually look on the other one, the other bit, it actually says a 1 with 1.2 points. So Gary is the fucking champion. Not only did he win in Raoul's fucking quiz, he now won in the first year of his fantasy league. Gary is the fucking Vault Dwellers game master. He is the fucking champion. See next time. See that wee Christmas hat. Sean will just put a wee crown here instead on my head, and I'll just need to sit still for the 2 hours that we do the podcast to make sure it works. Because 100%. Gary is the fucking champion. Sean can wipe his big Mario tears away.
I would put a crown on it, but the crown wasn't for this. The crown was for the prediction league. So I'll wear the fucking crown, and you will sit in your fucking place, sir. Okay. So Gary Moore did win his first year, and congratulations indeed.
Much,
well
Hoodie
earned.
was very respectable as well. Well done, Hoodie.
100%.
You just couldn't fit you in that bit. You did really respectable.
I've not got the screen big enough to fit all Hoodie's points on it, so I'm just going to have to leave it at that. We are going to make some changes to next year. We're going to introduce Rahul for a start. Rahul has graciously accepted. We're also going to increase the number of picks so that it keeps us kind of interested throughout the year. I was a bit disappointed that we finished so early in the year. We'd finished basically most of our picks really early. And by the way, this happened to me. There was actually a large number of stuff still to be released that was late in the year that resulted in on the other league that I'm in, Reese Boy just coming up for the back of the pack and just winning the full thing. So there's definitely school of thought to be had there on terms of picking some late picks.
You owe somebody a pizza?
Reese Boy, yeah, I reached out to him. He actually asked him for his PayPal, but he just kind of flame responded to my message. So I don't actually know if he's got any collect, but I'm fucking not offering him it twice, so if he doesn't give you his PayPal, he's getting no fucking pizza. Sorry. So, you know, in terms of like the picks and stuff and getting Rahul in and trying to make it just a wee bit more varied. I mean, you'll see if you watched when I was just, you know, showing the points and showing the thing on the screen, a lot of ours, bar one of mine, scored, you know, over 80 points, so it's less challenging to be picking for such a big pool of games with such a small number of players. It's still a challenge, don't get me wrong, it's still a challenge, but you just have a lot more to pick for because there's only, you know, 3 years playing.
It was dead easy.
There really wasn't. There really wasn't. So again, you know, sorry, on you go, Hoodie.
I'll say this is such a fun thing to do, and although I'm probably the least active in any of the leagues that I'm in, it is such a exciting thing to listen to everybody get excited about what their games are doing. Right?
Yeah.
Like I said, I guess I'm a participant in quotes. I kind of
a passive player.
Personality for the year, and that's it. Like next year will be the Suicide Squad, and if anybody wants to fight me for that, which you won't, have fun.
Fucking take it. By the way, you can take that.
You can have that.
Thank you.
You can take first, last, whatever.
Squire. But like that is such a fun thing because if it wasn't you or Gary, it was Ben, Jesse, and Robin, and everybody having that constant conversation about, oh man, I think this will get good. I'll drop it in the middle of the night when nobody's like, all of those little tactics and the meta game that you get into inside the game, even of should we conspire? Like those things are really fun to watch and listen to, even though, you know, whatever the outcome is, I think that we're all winners for that. So. Yeah,
definitely. You know, we're going to put some fun league changes and as we continue to do this over the years, we'll keep the rules, and each person will be able to bring a new rule to the table, subject to approval, because Hoodie will have us doing all sorts of mad things to before we can take picks. But
Everybody has to pick the Suicide Squad.
that's it exactly. Like I said, I've floated the idea out of making sure you have an empty slot as we go into December, so we've got a kind of showdown pick kind of thing, which I thought was quite interesting. And Gary,
If I may.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but real quick. I just want the audience to weigh in on this because I don't think I got a fair shake. I was laughed out of the room. Felt like a clown. It was my origin moment. I was going to turn into the Joker in the next episode. But guess what? I have faith in humanity to pull through. And you'll all agree with me. There's a rule that we have to pick one bad game. and everybody loses points on it. And you know what? It's a game changer. Let me tell you what. If I had my way, we'd have to pick 2 bad games. And neither of those games will be the Suicide Squad. Anyways, continue on.
I was it's interesting as I just find it difficult to judge what somebody would deem as a bad game or no. Like maybe there's like
Kong.
maybe
Skull
there's
Island.
no, like obviously you could
Golem.
pluck things like that out of fresh air, but somebody's going to turn around and go, oh, I heard that this game's a bad game, but no knowing what the game. I mean, you could spin that a certain way. Like there's too many loose ends in my head, but we can definitely take that on board and maybe fine tune that idea because there's maybe thought to be had. There's maybe thought to be had.
I think the only thing I'd like to do is just a wee summarise what I've kind of learnt for this experience is if you're Nintendo, you get fucking mega points for.
But you're saying that, but I lost on my one, so it's not like
but still, 80s is good.
I got Super Mario RPG 84, but every other game that apart from Atomic Heart got above 84, so it's not like or Fire Emblem Engage 81. That's a Nintendo game as well. Like, so I don't think you've just been lucky on what you've picked Nintendo wise with the Super Mario Bros. And then obviously comparing it to Zelda, like good. Zelda's going to be what it is. Octopath as well. Like, there's a few ones that you've picked it's Nintendo, but some of them won the superstar picks like the other ones.
How Ninia's picked Baldur's Gate 3?
Yeah, I've no idea. Absolutely no idea.
How we all missed that.
I'll say it is Game of the Year and it deserves it. Did not know the game existed until Ben said, "You want to play with me?"
Yeah, I didn't know until I heard it on the podcast. Listening to it, and it just they started talking about it, and I thought, do you know what? And then Gary started messaging me about it, and I was like, maybe I'll get it. But if it wasn't for him, I genuinely probably wouldn't have played it. In fairness, but
I feel like your one was very, very critical. I feel Dead Island 2 only got a 75. I don't think that's fair. I don't think Assassin's Creed only a 76. I don't think that's fair. I think low 80s I think would be fair for both of the games. I think you got a bit shafted with some of your picks. Sean got Atomic Heart. He should have only got a 50 for that, I'd have said.
Definitely.
Did I have Mirage?
Yeah, you did.
Yes, it was
76. You know what? That is very low.
Yeah.
I agree. You're right. Thank you.
Recount.
That game was great.
And also Sean got Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now I played that game at the end of the year, so you were probably talking about it was about 8 months in, and it was still glitchy as fuck, and it got an 84. It's like, how does that game get an 84? How?
If we're picking people's stuff, we'll just say Gary should have got a 0 at one point. It's just one of the things, Gary. You got to take your winners and take your losses here.
That was my summarise. I'm just summarising some of the games that I was looking at. I was quite surprised. I mean, I don't know. It was a good year. I mean, I went for the fucking slam dunk with Cyberpunk. I mean, that was a 50-50.
That's a good pick.
I mean, that could have fucking shat the bed, and I got an 89 for that.
Yeah, especially at that point of when you picked it. You picked it right. You got to remember we did these in January, so and that was one of your draft picks. So it's definitely a good shout.
Some of the big games that we missed, like that one that I was looking at recently was Alan Wake 2. That got like 89 or a 90. It was round about there. Street Fighter was a high 90 as well.
No, I definitely
What was
missed
the other one we said? Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate, we missed that as well.
I think a lot of these games, in terms of missing out on them, was because of the limited number of picks that we've got. You know, we pretty much had the full card. I had a full card within, you know, the first couple of weeks, and then that was it. It's done, kind of thing. I picked up Mortal Kombat on my other league, and I just don't have the space for it on this one, because you're talking about dropping, you know, things that you think that are going to be absolute bangers to make room for something that you're totally unsure about, you know. That's just what it is.
That's part of that metagame that I'm talking about that I really think is the fun of it. Of, oh man, like, we missed all these big titles, and part of it is, I mean, for me, I'll speak personally, it's like I'm picking the games that I believe in because those are the games I would play, right? And it is, I don't know anything about Alan Wake 2, and then it's turning out to be like, oh, look at 10, 10, 10, 10. But I wouldn't have picked that because I had my own personal bias against it. But then it is, can you get past that in certain aspects? Like, should I have dropped Super Mario RPG kind of thing for an Alan Wake, even though I had no clue what that was, because I wouldn't play it, right? Like, that idea, I think is a fun aspect to it, where, you know, like, I keep bringing up the Suicide Squad is going to inevitably be my game of the year at some point whenever it decides to come out. But, like, that was on my list all year because I believed in that game. I still believe in that game. I want this game to be amazing. I'm excited for it. You have no idea what it's like to be in a world where everybody hates this game except me. So it is like watching that.
I really appreciate that.
Well, yeah, like watching that game get delayed, I was like, I'm glad for the devs to take as much time as they need or whatever. I don't want anybody to suffer to make a game, but it is like, oh man, I don't know what to replace it with because I haven't been keeping up on games that way because I believed in these ones in the beginning. Because that's the other thing of like catch up in playing this, where it is, well, shit, it's so close. Do I pop in like a Baldur's Gate? Like I don't know anything about it, but it is getting uproar. Or you then hear from word of mouth, like Ben and Gary did for you and iMac, of like, oh, you should play this game. But the game's already come out, so now you can't even grab that. Like, that's high risk, high reward kind of thing is exciting about playing this every year.
Yeah, that happened to me like Hi-Fi Rush too.
I do appreciate the way you did it, Hoodie. I said that from the start. I do really like it. You wore your heart in your sleeve. I mean, even now you've still got the Plucky Squire in your picks, even though it's not coming out. But you're like, I'll take the 0 points. I'll take the 0 points for Plucky Squire because I believe in it that much.
I do. Disney Illusion Island. Shout out.
You know, one game as well. One game that it's not really to do with a list, but do you know one game that I feel like just came out and just got like forgot about? It was in the kind of like the media for about 2 weeks and then I just don't see it. And it's Starfield. You know, even in the Game Awards, I just say nothing for Starfield. Nothing. I don't even remember seeing it in one of the lists or nothing. I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of came and fucking away.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I think that was one of those games that I've been listening to Jesse and Gage talk about quite a bit, and it is like if you love it, you love it. If you don't love it, you never talk about it and doesn't exist, kind of thing. And I think there is one side of those two arguments that definitely outweighed the other. I think you could guess which one it was.
Interesting. It's been an interesting year.
It's been a good year.
Games.
Been
a good year. Yeah, definitely. It'd be good to see how next year pans out. I'll be still stuck playing all these games for this year once I finally finish.
Yeah.
Last year.
Baldur's maybe I will finish games for last year. Yeah, 100%.
Decade later.
I've still, as I just mentioned there, Starfield. I've still got that, and I can't jump for this Baldur's Gate straight into that. It's just too much. So I'll play some other stuff and maybe start that next year, but. I definitely it was a good thing to start this for the Vault Dwellers, and as I say, we'll get Rahul in the mix next year, which I'm looking forward to. Just getting him in. I think it'll be a fun one to get these new rules in as well, and expand the selections and just it's a bit of fun. As I mentioned as well, obviously we'll get Ben in for an episode. But Gary already mentioned off the back up. I think Hoodie had already said it actually was doing a review of the Spider-Man 2. I think it was once me and Gary have get our hands on it and played it over the break.
There's a fun twist to that too.
Oh,
we're hoping to make it less of a review and more of a debate. Because Ben and I have very different opinions.
That's all right. That's
wait for it.
That's exactly what the Vault Dwellers is all about. It's different things, different opinions. So yeah, absolutely. Check us out in the new year, and we'll definitely try and get something out. If it's no, I'm positive. I was right when the crown was definitely for the other thing. We need to get something for this.
I can't remember. We didn't get something for this. So yeah, Gary won a game trophy.
Gary won a game trophy. I heard they sell them. Gary makes them himself.
Gary 2 trophies. I've got a sore back holding this fucking Vault Dwellers podcast on my shoulders. You had is a pair of right. So we'll move on to the main event, and it is a review. I'm sure you've all been waiting with bated breath. I know 25 minutes in, we're going to start talking a wee bit about Home Alone 2. So before we get started, we've got something to issue. Gary was going to lead the charge. We're going to have to issue an apology based on the first review of the first Home Alone film. So here it is, an apology to the Wet and Sticky Bandits. I'd like to take this moment to apologise for me and the other two Vault Dwellers for our poor lack of information on the Wet Bandits for Home Alone 1. We did not mean to not speak about them, even though they're a total intricate part of the entire movie. Without the Wet Bandits, I apologise, there would be no movie. It would just be Kevin stuck in a house for a couple of days with nothing happening. So I really apologise that we never talked about the Wet Bandits, and we hope to rectify this in our Home Alone 2 review. So I hope everybody's ready for some stickiness.
I wasn't there. Don't include me in this.
You have to make them wet, and then it gets all sticky.
So let's kick things off. I want to ask the room. What is our history with this film? Now, I'll kick off just quickly because video watchers will soon see that I'm going to disappear for approximately a minute whilst these two fill some time. But basically, I have I think I don't recall this film whatsoever in terms of growing. I always remember bits about the first film. I don't remember this film. So I'm going to say that I have seen this. I could probably count with one hand how many times I've seen the second Home Alone, because I just don't have that kind of thing with the Home Alone films. So I don't really have like a grand history with it. I know that it was in New York. I just don't have that same kind of memory as I'm hoping that you two have. Now I know obviously it loses its lackluster as we go through the Home Alone series. The first one's the absolute classic, but Gary, why don't you start, mate, and then throw it to Hoodie when you're done. But your history with this film, I know you're a big fan of the first one. Does the second one weigh up as much for you, or do you care about it just as much, not as much? Like, what's the score?
I've never seen it.
Lol.
No, Home Alone 2, Sean's talking shite, you know what I mean? He's had a traumatic childhood. We've all learnt this. He used to run about chasing pigeons and shit like that, so he's just feeling like Home Alone 2 is a bit hitting hard to home. Home Alone 2 is, I always say this, you can't talk about Home Alone 1 when we talk about Home Alone 2. They're integral to each other. They're the same film, and I say Home Alone and I mean 1 and 2. I don't mean just the first one. Home Alone 2 is always been in my life ever since I could even recall watching Christmas movies. I've always Home Alone 1 and 2 has always been that category of must watch before Christmas. And I actually watched it today to finish it, but it was actually the second time I've watched it this month. And that's been me. It's always been a must watch for me. Hoodie, what about yourself for Home Alone 2?
I love Home Alone 2 probably equal to Home Alone 1.
Yep.
Where
me too.
As a kid, these were like a back-to-back feature, right? You just watch them as if they're one long movie. Because I think what this movie does so well is takes the concept of the first one, slightly changes it, and it's just enough where it's like being played in reverse and you don't notice until it's over. Like it just does sequel so well. Put that on a shirt. It does sequel so well. I love everything about it. Like as a kid, watching Kevin make all these insane traps in his house was one thing, but now he's got the whole city and he's going to giant toy stores and like all of these different ideas that they bring in were so exciting and cool, and like this was like this was my Mission Impossible as a child, right? Like being lost in a city to me was such a cool thing. Like when I'd go on trips, I thought, you know what? I hope Mom and I get separated on this plane because I'm about to be a Kevin. So I really, really love this. I think it is just a classic, the same level as the first one. And in many ways, I look at it and I think, God, do I love this more sometimes every time I watched it just last night for this again, like I would anyways for the holiday season, but I was getting to the future spoilers, but getting to the emotional bits with Pigeon Lady, and it was very much like this is hitting harder for me here than it does when he talks to the neighbor at the church. Like there's something that is so well developed about her that I don't always feel with the neighbor in the first one. And I think it does just a great job at, like I said, taking those same things beat for beat, but playing them in reverse somehow. And I love that about it. And I have, you know what? Never gets tiring. I never watched this movie and I think I've watched it one too many times. I sit there and I'm like, I'm watching it for the first time every single year. It's great.
Yep. I'm exact same as I said. I watched it 3 weeks ago, and then I watched it yesterday in the day. Finished it, and as you said, that you never get bored of this. I could watch this film about 5 times a year, I think. And I wouldn't get bored of it. You summed it up perfectly there, absolutely perfectly. And Mr. Mac just wants to be the big pigeon woman.
I don't know I don't know how you can be wrong by saying that I haven't only watched it 5 times. Nobody fucking said any different. I don't know. It's nothing wrong with how many times that you've watched something. I can't really
5 times this year.
I can't really be wrong about it. I'm obviously not living my life right. Anyway, so opening segments.
If you're not able to quote scenes beat for beat, you know what? Word for word, you ain't living your life right. You filthy animal.
I'm close to just letting this keep recorded and just going to bed, to be honest. Just like used to talking about this film, but anyway. Anyway.
Rob Schneider is Mr. Mac.
Gary.
That is a carrot. So we've split this kind of discussion review, whatever, into multiple pieces. And I've just kind of took some kind of quick notes and stuff as we look at the different elements of this film versus the first one. Obviously, it's hard not to compare, just obviously with the fact that it's very, very close, as Hoodie says. It's very, very close beats that they're hitting, and that opening scene in terms of the setups. Why is everybody mad at Kevin again? That gang, and how does he end up away in the other room? And you almost think that it's going to happen again. Clearly you don't watch it every fucking day apparently, but when you're watching, you're thinking, you're watching, surely it's not going to happen. Surely it's not going to happen again. And I just thought it was quite good to click it, to put it on and see like just some of the kind of hallmark 90s things that they do, like, you know, that kind of opening, you know, that my first notice, that kind of long 90s opening card, like it just nothing was kind of happening. You don't really get that anymore. Like people just want to, they want like in right away, whereas this film can just take its time and let you go in before unveiling the absolute chaos. That exact same thing happened this last year with the house. Everybody's just running about the fucking house crazy again as they, you know, get ready for going to this kind of recital night or whatever. And I just wanted this to start just by talking about, you probably fucking love him, right? But in these opening scenes, he's just a kid, obviously, but how fucking annoying is this wee guy, right, Kevin? We always can, like, the mum keeps asking questions and then just records his answer and then plays it back to her, and then rather than just playing yes again, records himself saying yes again and then plays it again. You're like, I fucking can see why, I don't even know why anybody's coming to your recital, like, you're fucking annoying. Anyway, so the fact that he's setting up all these different things, I thought was quite funny. It's quite cute the way that they're kind of, you know, going about the recording and the different thing about the pervert thing, you know, always try to record his uncle and all that. Like, I thought that was absolute class, like just ridiculous, the amount of kind of different stuff. But you know, the alarm getting disconnected again, you know, I don't know how they managed to do that, but it's just kind of funny. Like, I'm sure we've all been there, you know, in terms of unplugging something that you've not meant to plug in, and all of a sudden it's fucking, you can just see it flashing up to you, think, oh, here we fucking go again. But you know, the first thing I wanted to kind of hone in on, because I'm broadly brushing on some things, and please feel free to go back, right? But why does it cover the fact as to why Buzz, this almost grown man, was in singing with the rest of these Wayans? And what was funny about holding the lights behind his ears that they all started laughing about? Like, am I missing that? Like, as an expert of the topic, you guys, I'm hoping, should be able to answer, but like, what is the score with that? Is it just the whole school? Like, that wasn't the whole school, was it there? Like, does it mention that, or is it just he's the arsehole brother and he just happens to be there next to Kevin?
I know Gary's the American here, but if I had to like venture what American culture would say about this, I think there is a big disconnect in why he's there, because I also don't understand. He would not be in that
the group or anything,
choir.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking Kevin's like in elementary school, which I don't know what it'd be for y'all, but like, he should not be in high school with Buzz, and Buzz wouldn't be in this, and it's not like, it's clearly at a school, right? That's what we established this.
Yeah,
so it's not like a church choir. Like, I don't understand why he is there. You're right. I mean, it could be. You're right. It could be. It didn't feel like it every time I've watched it, but, you know, they don't mention it outright, I don't think. So it is like, okay, you shouldn't be there. But yeah, my bigger hang-up is on why everybody is laughing at this. Like, nothing about that's funny, and also you're all adults, and this, like, 30-year-old man is bullying this 9-year-old kid. Like, why are you all encouraging this? I don't understand. If it was like the family laughing at Kevin, that's more understandable. But you've got an entire auditorium just taking out their shit on this kid, and then they all get upset when he pushes him over. Listen, all right, I get it. Buzz is a snot. He's very talented at being one. He's great at it. But, like, you're telling me everybody else is, like, thinking this guy is the champion quarterback of a football team when he fucking puts 2 light bulbs behind a kid's ears? Like, it's not even a good joke. It would be funnier if he was, like, making faces or something. Well, I don't even get it. You're right. Listen, man. That's my biggest problem with this movie. That one scene. Just that one scene. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a few. I mean, even Jillian was weighing in with a few comments. So I'll pepper hers in as we go through. But no, I had the same kind of hang up, like, especially with Buzz in that scene. You know, where he's saying his apology, and the whole family just like just like accepts it, and they're
Golly.
like, "Oh, that's you're such a big, it's such a big thing of you." Like, no, like, I mean, how could you do that to your, to your brother during his solo that everybody was like waking each other up for and preparing for and all that kind of stuff, and then suddenly like it was this big laugh to then just take the piss out of him for it. So no, I'm with you on that, and obviously, I mean, it does set up a few things because he obviously, they're trying to talk Kevin into it. Kevin's smarter than any of them give him credit for, and he's like, no, hold on a minute, like, can none of you see like what he's fucking doing to you is? Like, obviously with it the swearing, as much as I would say this film definitely notches it up a wee bit in terms of the maturity side. I don't know if you kind of pick up on that as well, and the droughts never. But in terms of like, that line, talk about his uncle with the knows a little pervert, and I'm going to slap you silly kind of thing. Like, it's just it definitely is a step up for like what he was recording or what he was doing in the first film, and then obviously we hit the same beats where the camera pans and everybody's looking at Kevin. We got the just joke again for the wee for his cousin or whatever, that he's sitting drinking his juice, and he's talking about that he has to sleep with him and things like that. And as I mentioned, Gillian did have some comments, and Mrs. Mac, she mentioned, because obviously once everybody kind of sleeps in, which is, as we're getting to near the end of these opening segments, Gillian's wrote, like, who is this unprepared going to the airport? Because it seems as if like the last thing you would want to do is wake up and then get yourself sorted and go, but they're all running about and trying to do like 1,000,001 things to get ready, and it's just they're just not quite prepared, which obviously it's a comedy in itself, they they're counting everybody, and all of a sudden Kevin's in the front of the van, like, it's class. A good spin on it, because you obviously think, well, surely they'll not be able to do it again, and they obviously come up with some creative ways to make that happen. So I'm curious, Gary. Obviously, Hoodie's mentioned his one issue. I'm sure he's got many more things to touch on these opening scenes before we leave to the airport, but none at all. Definitely no distracting whatsoever. So our Gary, what's your thoughts on the opening segments?
So I do really like the part when he's actually when the family are back in, and it's almost like the jury, and Buzz is doing the smart ass, like, oh, I'm so sorry to my entire family, like, I just had to apologise to everybody for the Wet Bandits that were missing last season, last review. I really like that, because it just shows you how that the family don't understand Kevin's maturity, because they think he's just a wee stupid boy, and he's just that he's that being a younger sibling. I mean, all my family are older than me. I was the baby, so being the baby was always the one was getting in trouble. Was always the one, Mom, he's annoying me. Mom, he's doing this, and they could back it up when I was just a stupid wee boy, And I've been in that situation, so seeing that and him going like that, like saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. Oh, Kevin, you're a wee arse licker or trout sniffer, whatever he says to him." You know what I mean? And that's exactly what siblings do to each other, Oh, Mum, I'm so sorry. Then they'll come by and they'll punch you again. Then you go mental. That's it. It's so good. Well done. You can tell people have made this. It's like, that is fucking what siblings do to each other. 100%. 110%. And I do love all the it's just pure callbacks to this film. This is all this is. As me and Hoodie said, it is 1 and 2. I just see them as Hoodie said, a full feature film. They're just the exact same film, but it's the callback to the same music playing as well. In the morning it's that when the fucking alarm comes out again and stuff like that. Everybody keeps hitting that statue again. It's all the wee callbacks to the first film that I just absolutely love. And I love the opening segment. I agree. I imagine it must be a church, because Buzz is, as they said, about 30 years old and Kevin's like 6 or something. So there's no reason that they should be going to school together. And I have to say, the only person in that hall, the only 2 people in that hall are actually normal human beings, was Kevin's mum and Kevin's dad and the piano woman, because none of them were laughing. Everybody else were gutting themselves laughing for a shite joke.
Aye. I liked the uncle's comment. Now that I didn't even write it down, it just came back into my head there with the exchange between Kevin and the uncle, where it's like, oh, don't you ruin this holiday, your dad's paid enough money for it, and and he's just like, oh, what would you know, like Mr. Cheapskate and all that, and he's automatically like, it's brilliant, because it definitely brings back that tightness that the uncle is, and just how much like they obviously have a disdain for each other. He just thinks probably he's getting old, he's sell the uncle, so he's thinking, I can't really be arsed for these Waynes anymore, and Kevin's just a smart arse, get an answer for everything type thing.
That was a good retaliation for his jerk one, the last one,
Aye.
Look what you did, you little jerk.
Aye, yeah.
That was a good retort for that. He kept it in for a full film and then retorted.
Aye, 100%. Aye, that was a full year for me, is what he held that back. Which is a good point in itself, that it was a year later that I watched between the first and the second one, and so and it's been a year in that universe. So I good.
Can I just ask? I don't know if that's what you would want to talk about closing scene, but do you see this as something you'd watch more often?
No.
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 You just think first is the one, and the second is just meh. The way you're going.
I don't know. I don't really have like a. Like this Christmas we've watched the second one. I didn't watch the first one. Next year I might not watch either of them. I don't have like a.
You don't have a must watch list.
No, I don't. I watched a few films this year that I've never watched at Christmas. Obviously that's been one of them, but I watched the Muppets one, which I haven't seen since I was wee. And I watched Jingle All the Way, which I think I've only watched once before. I like growing up, I don't know if we really watched a lot of Christmas movies, like especially the kind of classical ones, whatever. I don't know what I done when I was younger, but I don't know what I done genuinely, but I like we watched like the Grinch and Elf, and I like all the Santa Claus films, and there's Christmas with the Cranks, whatever it is like one of my favourite ones, because it's just with the Tim Allen and things. Maybe I'm just a big fucking Tim Allen Christmas fan, I don't know, but I like that film. As I said, I like the Santa Claus ones. I watched the
only problem with the Santa Claus films is the first like 15 minutes they just keep going like, Santa's not real.
100%. It's different for you, so
shut up.
I know that my friend actually, I say my friend, it was a guy I work with, he was watching the other film I've watched, which is the Christmas Chronicle. He was watching that when she's really young, but she like sits and like really pays attention and is talking about different things, and no quite grasping that when she watched like a different film, she's watched like Santa Claus, and then she's watching this film, and she's saying like to go like, oh, where's the elves? Like, because she's thinking like, where's the elves for like the last film? Like tells her like where's Santa's elves and stuff, and that film, the brother obviously keeps talking about Santa's not real, whatever else, and so she was kind of picking up on that and asking different things about that, but he's able to obviously talk his way out it, and things, so it's easy enough to talk your way around it. I'm sure creative ways to say like, oh well, that means he's not going to get that, and then it's just a line underneath it, but I get that you don't even want to like open that window, like it's just not even worth it for the sake of what it is.
Sorry, I totally.
No, it's alright.
Derailed the conversation.
With my failing memory, it's hard to get back on tracks. But anyway, no, I don't think. Just obviously to your question, I don't have an issue with the film. It's no like, Home Alone, I don't like them or anything like that. I just don't have as like the way that you have. Like, obviously, growing up, you must have watched it a lot. They're class films, but it's just because I haven't watched them so much, like I don't have like that kind of affinity for them. So there's a lot of things that is very much more aimed at kids, which we'll get into later. But so probably just a different take on some of the scenes than what yous would, which I think only keeps things interesting. That we've got two super fans and somebody that's watched it less than 3 times probably. Hoodie, opening segments before we get to the airport. Do you have any other wee bits and pieces that you want to mention, or your favourite bits of it?
Yeah, I think one of the bigger ones is like the reset of mentality was something that annoyed me as a kid. Of like, why don't any of you respect Kevin? You know what he did?
Yeah.
Do you have any clue what he went through? That traumatic event? Like, come on, why are you guys treating him like this? And then as I get older, I'm realizing families don't give a shit about your trauma.
No.
They don't care what you go through. They don't care about your mental state. If you're having a breakdown, they're like, just come on, get over it, right? Like, that's how families work. And I think
so if you
more of appreciation. What?
Have you literally just like made your point and also resolved it in the same sentence there, where you're like, do you know what? What's their problem? Actually, this is why it's actually pretty accurate.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, as a kid, I thought for a long time, like, why don't they, treat him with more respect? He should have like tons of candy or whatever. And like I said, as I've been getting older, it is realizing they don't give a shit, right? And so I've had a stronger appreciation for how they write this movie, where it is, like Gary said, I don't have siblings, so he speaks to it better of, well, I was the youngest, and man, the things that my older siblings could get away with, right? Like, that connection of, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because like I said, when I was a kid, this movie frustrated the hell out of me of like, what? He should be a king. He should be escorted in like a fucking golden like carriage. Like, why are they? He went to World War IV. You don't even understand. He took on the wet bandits. Watching it.
That's actually something I took away from watching it like that these last 2 times. I'm thinking to myself, watching it, and it's just obvious. It seems obvious, but I'm just thinking to myself, like, nobody actually knows like what he got up to. Like, I assume that like he's not told anybody. He's not said, by the way, see when I was here and you were there, these guys came and tried to rob the house. He's just like totally pretended that never happened and whatever else, and they just think for the 2 days he just stayed in the house, never done it, and and it wasn't until like actually the last couple of times I'm like, what a strange concept that he just like did never say that, just never said, by the way.
It's almost like that Phineas and Ferb, like Perry the Platypus thing, like where you just don't even know what Perry gets up to. He just goes away and he's a superhero and he's going and doing other things. You've just no idea what we've actually got here, and Kevin, and what he can do, or what, how actual clever he is, and that spans right through this film to near the end of this film, because they think he's just going to be sitting there in the airport when he's actually like away in a different city and up to absolutely no good as usual. It's crazy. Hoodie touched on quite a lot of good points there in terms of like why has that changed, like that reset, that whatever else. Like, it's crazy that they even let it get to the point where they go into the car before they realised that Kevin like potentially wasn't there again. Like, you would think that the mum would be like, right, my number one priority is to make sure that Kevin is by my side this full entire time until we get to like where we're going. Like, you would just think that would be the case, rather than letting them forgetting him again, if you like. Obviously, I mean, I know that the alarm and doesn't go off and they're rushing about and their minds are all over the place, but even still, she's a mum, she should, well, exactly, by title, more than anything else, but I don't know if we end up cutting any of your closing points there off before we get to the airport.
Oh no, I'm all good.
Not all good. So again, the airport, I find it's quite an interesting thing in itself, and it doesn't span for too long, but some pretty big hitting points happen now. Pre 9/11 or not, it's just a lot of weird things happening here. You know what I mean? Just a lot of things happening here that's just like, however the fuck is this supposed to happen? You know, the general gist for those, I'm not even going to say for those who haven't seen it, because there's no way that anybody's even watched it, is a little fewer number as me than or has never seen it. But you know, Kevin and the airport, I thought it was quite a kind of non-genius in its entirety, because there's some fucking wacky shit that goes on here. But the fact that, you know, he's chasing, he's got distracted with the batteries, and suddenly he's, you know, chasing the wrong person, and I think they actually do a good few, you know, speaking technically, they do a few good kind of camera shots initially that makes you kind of see, like, you know, because I was kind of distracted watching and at that point myself, because I was watching something else at the time that was going on. I was watching a game of football actually on my phone, but so maybe I missed the fact that it's quite clearly not him that he's chasing at that very first moment. But obviously when he arrives, when the dad arrives and at the gate, and you can still see Kevin chasing somebody else, you're like, oh shit, he's fucking off on a mad one here, chasing somebody else into another bit. And then obviously the guy makes it through, he's shouting on him, he can't hear him, and bumps into the woman, and after giving the boarding pass, and suddenly the boarding passes are all on the floor. Are you definitely supposed to be on this? Aye, that's my dad. And she just fucking takes him on the plane. Aye, there he's there. Doesn't he approach the guy and just says to him, just find an empty seat. Like, don't find your seat, just find an empty seat. Yeah. And it's like, what the fuck? What do you mean, just find an empty seat? Like, this kid could be fucking anything. So I just think it's funny in that sense, in terms of you know, how we get him on the plane. And obviously, you know, he's putting his headphones in, so he doesn't realise where he's gone. Which, you know, is funny in its own right. Aye, well, I love that bit.
They absolutely loved it. The guy beside him, the guy starts speaking in French, and he's like, "Aye, right."
I love that. You know, and taking that to the opposite side. You know, we'll extend the airport to the opposite side at the airport as well. When they discover he's not there. Obviously, she has their moments in the air where she's, you know, having that, I just feel like we're missing something, which is in the first film, the camera shots where you see the plane, and you're just kind of half expecting that Kevin to kind of happen again, which obviously clearly wouldn't happen, because she thinks that he's on the plane, even though she doesn't wait to see if everybody's on the plane. They just, I don't know, no, we've sorted, just you fucking get on the plane, like a mad woman. You know, she's on the plane, and then at the other side they're passing the wee Kevin's bag up and down the chain, and every single, you know, the wee guys, like the wee cousin or whatever, was like, Kevin's not here, and everybody nonchalantly is like, Kevin's not here. You're like, what? Nobody thinks to go like, what do you mean fucking Kevin's not here? Until eventually it gets to the mum, like, oh, what do you mean fucking Kevin's not here? And everybody freaks out again. So I loved that. I loved that that's how they decided to, like, introduce that element, because you can see the chaos. Like, everybody knows how stressful it is trying to get bags, like at a baggage claim, whatever. Like, so you can see like why like the parents would be like so distracted by it, like, because they're like, right, bags then out of here type thing. But I loved how they set the scene on that, and again, you've got to just kind of suspend disbelief, like a lot of the rest of the film, that this would even be possible with the airport security at all.
I think this film is a total time capsule, as you said, pre 9/11. You know, I remember getting on a plane when it was before 9/11, maybe it was 2010, whatever. We went our first holiday, and I remember you only got one security check and you were through. That was you, like, throughout your plane. See, the last time I went on holiday, I had four security checks. You know what I mean? That could not happen nowadays. There was too many checks. And can I just say also, Kevin's mum and dad are the poorest parents I've ever seen in my entire life. Because, as you said, they forgot their child last year. The same shit's happening this year. Not only did they get to that ticket woman, not only did they run away from him in the airport, they got up to the ticket woman, and the mum doesn't go, do you know, see for a minute, let me see if all my wains are here.
I know.
No, she just goes, aye, fuck it. You know what, aye, you deal with it, I'm away on the plane to go and sit in my first class. Fuck the wains, again, you know? And I just like, at some point, somebody's got to take responsibility here. I do think it was a great setup right at the start when they get to the airport. He's badgering his dad. His dad's like trying to say to the guy, "Look, where we going? We're late. Like, you know, I've been in that situation. Literally, my last holiday last year, we got to our transfer never turned up to take us to the airport, and we were literally fucking running through the airport like that, like mad. We got on a plane. We were the only people that weren't on the plane, and it was mental." So I've totally been in that stressful situation, and I love how Kevin's like, Dad, I need this, I need batteries. And he's like, oh, fucking just take my bag, like, you deal with that, take that. And then it just goes, all right, so now Kevin's got his bags, so now Kevin's got his money, now Kevin's got his credit cards, you know, he's got all the stuff that he needs to survive to himself, which is a nice wee set up for him obviously missing his plane and going on a different plane. But I do like the airport, and that scream as you were talking about, Kevin's not here, it gets to the mum, and the way she screams is the second best reaction in this franchise. The first best reaction is always my favourite, is when Marv gets the tarantula put in his face. I fucking love his scream. He just screams. Do you know why? Because that's the way my wife would scream if you put a tarantula on their face. And every time he screams, I'm like, that just seems so fucking real. It just, you can't. I couldn't even scream like that. Like, it's amazing. And the way his mum screams at it, and I love the way she screams, then just looks about and then just faints. Like, fuck me, this has happened again. It's perfect. I love this. I love the scene. The airport scene. What about yourself, Hoodie? Or Sean?
I just reset my camera. I don't know if we've lost it for a wee minute there. But I can't remember if this happens. It probably happens like as we get into the Hoodie's muted at the minute, just so we'll just keep going and cutting back in when he comes back. But when I was watching this, obviously there's a part. I'm not sure if this is still set in the airport, but I think it might be. I might be jumping ahead ever so slightly, but they obviously go to the police and start talking to the police. So that, I don't know if it's the police in the airport or whatever, but they're obviously like, you know, kind of joking about like that it's happened again. Like, you know, as if I went missing again, and it's like, well, actually, it has. A year ago we done this. You know, it's like seriously, like really?
Like, and they go, this is turning into family tradition, knock on wood, you know.
Exactly, yeah. It actually happens every year. Hey, you know, the fact that they're laughing, like, oh, we've never lost a bag, but we always lose our son, you know, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, man, what a fucking line.
That's what that police officer should have went, right, well, I'm just reporting this to social services, so expect a wee somebody to come at your door, and you are fucking getting the wings to rip right off you.
100%. That's and it'd be well deserved. Hoodie, sorry, we threw that to you there, not realising. Apologies that you were quickly on mute. Before we move on for the airport scenes, do you have anything to pick up on that we've maybe skipped over? What was your kind of highlights of the airport and the setups that we came across here?
I think you all nailed it. I mean, everything in that scene is very much like, ooh, this would not pass to it.
Yeah.
I was very much watching it being like, find a seat. Listen, if I picked first class or just in coach the front row, I would be yelled at. I don't think that's how that works, but okay. But yeah, I think once we get out of the first, bit of this movie is where it starts to kick in the most. But I like that they do get to the point where, at least when I was watching this as a kid, I see him going after the dad and then the switch up, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's still going after his dad. Like that was a plot. Like that was a plot twist in my head.
Yeah.
That I didn't see coming at the time, right? And then when I'm watching it now, I'm like, oh, clearly that's not the dad. But
Yeah.
when I was growing up, I was like, what? Holy shit! That's how they get him lost to New York. That's crazy.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I like that. So we obviously we leave the airport scene, obviously, and Kevin's arriving at New York, and he's kind of about going, where the fuck is everybody? And eventually, obviously, because he's been kind of looking at different things, he realizes like what it is. It's across the water from him. I think, does he see the plaza, the actual hotel that he's been like dreaming about or seeing the adverts on? I can't remember which building.
I think he just looks. I think he's just looking and he's realises, fuck, this is New York.
Aye.
And that's when he asks the woman.
Aye. So he's kind of done that, and he obviously goes out and starts making his way around about New York, and there's hundreds of things, so I'm not going to touch on everything because I kind of did that for the last one. I'll kind of throw to you like what your kind of favourite bits are as he starts to kind of do that before he obviously gets to the inevitable the kind of later on after the hotel he goes to the toy store. But between then he gets up to all kinds of antics, including booking. I've wrote down here the fucking best suite you've probably ever seen. Kevin's got nothing but the best taste ever, doesn't he? Go for the inconspicuous. He wants to book the nothing but the best, figuring out how to use the credit cards. He's no stupid for it by any means.
Oh yeah.
And we obviously get a wee bit of one of the youngest appearances that you probably remember seeing of Rob Snyder as well. So which is brilliant.
Snyder.
And it's in itself that you see that. I love that kind of thing. Like when you watch these kind of older films, and you see it, it's just his actual skin looks shiny. He's that young in this film, but I'll let you kind of take care of the stuff for this one, because my only point I would like to make before I pass it out is what I've never seen a Sunday bar that's presented inside somebody's hotel room before. Like this guy's literally there with like all this Sunday stuff, like not even on the tray, like it's everywhere, all about the room. And he's just like, one scoop or two scoops, and he's like literally making them this like fucking I can't remember, it's that banana split fucking style Sunday, like this massive decadent Sunday. But anyway, what was your guys' kind of two exactly? It's like fucking two.
Make it three. I'm not driving.
I love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. But he's got plenty of stuff that he does between then and the toy store. So Hoodie, what about you'll throw it to you first on this one, because there wasn't much for you to weigh in on the old scenes for the airport. What was your kind of standout bits for him picking his suite and being his usual Kevin self?
I think the testament of a great movie is when you could make the setting also a character, and how much of New York in this matters, and like the locations he goes aren't just like, oh, that's iconic, there's a pop for people watching it, see, it's New York. It is like he's going through Central Park, and the people around Central Park matter, right? Like he's going through the city streets, and the city streets matter. Going like to the back of the fish market where you start to meet Joe Pesci and the Sticky Bandits, like where you start to meet them in the back area, like all of that makes this feel bigger too, because Kevin's a kid, but when you're a kid, everything is 10 times the size, not only because of your height, but because it's overwhelming, like the sense of anxiety. But Kevin makes everything less anxious and more like a playground, and I think that's what they do so well, of making New York its character, and Kevin sees it as just like the sandbox to do whatever the fuck he wants. So when it is him going into the hotel for the first time and like meeting certain figures that make cameos, like asking for directions, he owns the place, is so much fun, which makes watching this as a kid in kind of in the vein of like Big, right? Like when Tom Hanks turns into an adult, that's what you think the power you have is. Like, oh, I could get any toy in the world now, and I could get tons of candy, and I can eat ice cream in bed. Like, Kevin does that, and he's still a kid. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, watching that, it's fun and it's exciting. So, like, the scenes that pop out for me instead of direct story beats is him going up to the room and then being like, oh, you know, and then the camera panning down to Rob Schneider's hand, and he's like asking for a tip. And he's like, "Oh, I've got you," or whatever. And he pulls out like a stick of gum. Like, that's a fun start to that. And he's like, "Oh wow, thank you." But the payoff to that bit later on being like, "Oh, you probably want a tip, don't you?" No, I still have the tip from last time. And he pulls out like the gum that he's chewing. And he's like, "Oh, no tip?" And he pulls out a wad of cash. Okay, then. Like Rob Schneider going, no.
I love that.
Like, oh man, I love that. I mean, you've already mentioned it, but like the ice cream thing of like 2 scoops, make it 3. I'm not driving. Like that to me is the thing that makes me laugh the most, of how much he acts like he is a billionaire running this down. Like, it's just. Yeah. I don't know where the hell they went after this. I assume bankruptcy by how much debt Kevin put them in. Also, the check at the end, spoilers, like $900. That's it.
I know.
It's $900 to breathe the air around Disneyland. I don't understand how he was able to book the biggest suite in the world, have endless ice cream, all that. Like, yeah, just for inflation. But wow.
I think
that kid was living it up.
In fairness, I think that was only on additional charges. That was only room service charges.
Room service. I didn't say room service.
Okay. Ooh, that bill for the hotel stay.
even still now.
Yeah.
But
that's true. Yeah.
I think what year would you roughly say that was?
I think this was 94, 95 or something like that.
So we'll say 1993. So I put in there just $900 to make it round, is equivalent to the purchasing power of about 1,912. So you can imagine that if you just increase that to closer to 1, it would probably be closer to 2. So he spent essentially in the modern day, he spent $2,000. Dollars, I should say. Sorry. So
ice cream.
Aye, $2,000 in the modern day. I wonder if you can answer this one. Again, it's something that I've maybe missed, but he goes downstairs just at the end of this scene, and again we'll circle back on and Gary, in case you've got anything else. But when he goes downstairs and the limo's there, and there's like a guy with like a pizza and that for him, like how does that come about? Is that literally just this scene? Like, he just walks downstairs, and it's just assumed that he's phoned and arranged for this to happen. But
yeah, I think it is. I think it's just assumed that he's booked it. I think they say something like your limos that you. I don't think it says your limo that you've booked, but I think it says your limo's a ride for you. So I assume that he must have booked us all himself.
Right, okay. It's just that kind of funny. Like, of course he's done that. Like, of course a kid would be like, I want a limo to take me somewhere, and it's not literally he doesn't actually know where he's gone at this point. He just because he decides where he's in the limo, but. Where he's gone, but he's like, of course I want a fucking pizza, to eat while I'm driving about in my big limo, why the fuck not? Why would I not want that? But Gary, we obviously meet some interesting characters, as Hoodie says, characters in themselves in the city, but other characters too, which you seem to have a fascination with, me being the pigeon lady. But I'm interested to know what you two guys thought of the pigeon lady when you were kind of growing up. Can you remember or recall, like, was it a frightening character, like the way that the first character was pitched to us?
I think she was. I think if I remember correctly, being younger, I did think she was almost like that, because at the start, even when he sees her, he's a wee bit scared there. But he's learnt for, like, obviously the second film, and then as soon as he talks to her, you just realise there's instant warmth for this woman. It's just, actually, as Hoodie said, I actually think she's much warmer than the neighbour. The neighbour seems to be like a quite a sad character, whereas she, as soon as she talks to you, you're like, oh, she's so homely and motherly and whatever else.
I think that's a lot to do with this film in itself. It happens a lot during the film, but the growth just on Kevin's character alone, for throw back to you, but just the different things, and I think it's probably mostly because it's a different year, it's a different time for that people are watching this, so aimed at different things. But he's obviously a lot more moments of personal growth across the film. But sorry, Gary, I kind of cut you off there.
No, you're fine. Can I just go back to the hotel for a wee minute?
Obviously, aye. Of course.
Do you know what I love about the hotel is it just shows how childish that Kevin is with something. He's mature. I'm not meaning he's just stupid child, but the stuff that he does, like even like when he's booking the room, when he uses the voice recorder and he says stuff like, "Hello," what's his dad's name again? McAllister. What's his dad's name? Anybody?
Kevin McAllister.
You think it's Kevin as well? And he's like, "Hello."
It could be.
Just say his name's Kevin, right? For this, he goes, "Hello, my name's Kevin McAllister, the father." That's what he says to the woman, and that's just like pure child like intuition, isn't it? Like to explain it, he has to explain it. This is no him. To this operator woman, I really enjoy that. Obviously, as you said, like he just walks in and the first thing he does is like look in the fucking like the fridge and it's got all the cookies and all that, and he's like, wow, it's just that pure child intuition. And one thing we missed when we were talking about the pizza, we missed about Tim Curry coming upstairs and with the dad in the shower scene.
Oh no, I've just left. I didn't want to take up everything, so I've just kind of left that. So you set the scene for that one. He just obviously knows Kevin's well prepared and has his recording ready for him.
Aye. So supposedly he knew that this was going to happen at some point.
Aye.
So he had a full inflatable man in the shower. So he's sitting watching his gangster films, which, by the way, are fake films that they've just recorded for this film, which is pretty amazing because they look pretty awesome, and they're so iconic. I think it's Angels with Filthier Souls, this one, and he's sitting watching it, and then he hears the door, and he's like, "Oh fuck, there's somebody coming!" Jumps into the bathroom, and then he plays his uncle's recording. "I'm the sexiest kid you've ever seen." Tim Curry walks in. By the way, Tim Curry in this film is so funny. I think he's so hilarious in this film. Everything he does, just his facial expressions and everything, just makes me laugh.
You can't not look at him. So even the scene like where it's like 5 of them, like it's only him that you're actually watching.
Oh, aye. And he walks in and he walks up to the door and it's "What are you looking at, you little pervert? I'm gonna slap you silly." And you see him like running out the door, he's hitting everything and he's running out. And then it's the next morning, he's like, you can see him all sheepish, like talking to Kevin, like, "I would just like to say sorry to your dad." He's like, "Oh,
wait till he gets a hold of you."
You're in trouble. He's like, "Do you think he wants to see the guy that looked at his rear end and all that?" And he's like, No, probably no. And he's like, "I don't think you'll see him again." Perfect cover story for wee Kevin McAllister.
Aye. He's put the son, exactly. Much needed distinction. He does set it up well. Obviously, it's just one of the things that, again, you think, how on earth has this kid came up with something like defending his cell? But it's just absolutely crazy. I don't know if you know Hoodie, because I don't know how you would be able to decipher what Man Oats is, but you were talking about the fish market and you were talking about the sticky bandits this time around, and I have a note that just says that literally only says freedom fish. Do you know what that's in relation to whatsoever in terms of them? Because that seems to be what I've written down, and I wish I'm going to have to try and take better notes next time because I don't know what the fuck I mean by it.
Freedom fish?
That's what I've wrote. I don't know what I mean by it, so I was hoping that it was going
I have to know.
I was going to tick something off there because it is something. I don't know if it's something in relation to the sticky bandits. Now, obviously, they are hiding, and that's how they've managed to kind of get themselves into New York, which is interesting itself. But I'll try and look that up while I'm thinking, because I've genuinely no idea.
Is it Marv going, freedom?
Maybe that's what it
breathing this awful fish smell.
Maybe that's exactly what it is, because I don't really understand why I've written that. I'll have a wee look just to see, but I think that's actually what it is. I think that is what it is, because he says, I've wrote here that the quote is, he's like, smell that? He's like, you know what that is? And he's like, fish. He's like, it's freedom. He's like, no, it's fish. So that's exactly what it is. That's exactly it. I'd need to write the quote a wee bit better next time, because I've that's exactly what I've obviously found that funny, and I've just thought I'll remember that later, forgetting that I've got a terrible memory.
You know what?
Yeah.
Speaking off that quote, I feel like Marv, great in both, takes it up to a 10 in this one, where I'm like, I love you even more in this one. Like, you're so good. Like, even when it gets to the end bits of, like, when they're being tortured. But it's like the brick scene. No. It's like the way he plays off the slapstick humor in this is so great. And I don't know what happened to the actor after these movies, but like for both of these, he's one of the greatest performances I've ever seen in like a slapstick comedy.
He definitely
it's so good.
He definitely takes a lot more later in the film that we'll get to, but he definitely gets set up a lot more times, and it's just he does take them well, but he sets them up well, and it's very slapstick, like you said, 100%.
Oh, it's so good.
100%.
Him walking down the street with the woman slaps him. Like that whole scene, and then the payoff to that later on, where it's the same woman. Like his face and his reactions are so good. Like I feel the first one was heavily led by Joe Pesci's character, and this one it just feels like Marv steps up to be an equal in that same role. It's so good.
Even to the point of naming them. It was how he names them, because he's literally got sticky tape attached to his hands. He's like, this time we're not the wet bandits, we're the sticky bandits.
That's true. That's true.
He's just looking at him and he's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
He just shakes his head, doesn't he? Just no.
We've just gotten out of prison. Shut up, Marv.
I love that.
Don't you know you have the right to remain silent? I love that.
Absolutely love that. I'm going to just take a wee minute to try to keep messing about with this camera, because I'm stuck and I'm looking at Hoodie very, very, I don't know, we're loving eyes there.
The next scene, hello Hoodie. The next scene we get, so as you said, Sean, the next scene we get is the pepperoni pizza in the limo. Oh, no, it's just a cheese pizza, sorry.
It's a
cheese pizza in a limo.
Which is a nice callback to the first film again, where they went mental because there was no cheese pizza left. So he gets in the limo and he's sitting watching the Grinch, and you see the Grinch do the big smile, and then it goes back to Tim Curry. I love that. Yeah.
And it's a perfect smile. If Jim Carrey didn't play a Grinch, he would have been a good Grinch. It just goes back to him, and he's looking at the credit card that Kevin used, and it says declined. Now, I think there's a wee hang wrong with this. Why would it be? No, it says stolen. Sorry, it says stolen.
It does.
It says stolen, and I'm like, why? The dad wouldn't have?
Yes.
It's stolen.
Yeah,
surely?
exactly. I was thinking this.
I've always thought that. I've thought it for a wee while since I've been an adult watching it. I'm thinking to myself, surely the dad knows that Kevin's got the card, because he knows Kevin's got my bag. He literally says to the police officer. But he's like, actually, Kevin might be using that. I'm fucking hanging that stolen at the credit card company.
Do they have to? Do they have to like list it as stolen, so they know? Maybe? So that they can, so that it's then be able to be flagged. You think?
Nah, I doubt it.
Yeah, if you had a card, like we've had a card that's been stolen, right? And you have to call to report that, otherwise they'll never know, right? The person can keep charging that. So he knows that Kevin has his bag. Why would he then report it to the credit? Like
that's exactly.
That's like such a dick move to be like, oh yeah, well my son's lost in a different state right now and he's a child. I better report that it's stolen. Like at what point? did he get there? I mean, this plays into their horrible parents, just all the way around. It's so bad.
So I'll report this stolen so he can't buy it, and so he'll starve and no have a home to live in.
I mean, what are you doing? Why do you hate your child this much?
Yeah, I don't know. I never got that. It's better to watch it when I'm older. I'm like, I don't understand that. Like, that's a wee bit of a plot that doesn't really make sense to me. But anyway, it's obviously just to help the story move on. To get him at the hotel.
It definitely does something to it. That's what it is, and it's one of the things. I think you could almost write it off as saying that you've got he's obviously saying to he's telling the boss, he's got my credit card, and I can only imagine it being that the post has to be like, all right, well, you don't have your credit card, so it has to be marked as stolen so that we can then get it traced and whatever else. But clearly, if you had any kind of responsibility about yourself, you'd be like, make sure you don't actually cancel that because he might need it. You know what I mean? Like fuck whatever he charges against. He's in a city on his own. Like, just let him do what he's doing. Like, whatever, you know. So he finds him out, and poor Kevin is unawares, and he's on his way to a nice big toy store.
Duncan's toy store.
So toy
chest, maybe. I don't know what it's called.
Fuck knows, mate. I just wrote toy store. So
what's it called? Okay.
He's not sure either.
I'm pretty sure it's toy chest.
I think it is. I think it's Duncan's toy chest. I think you're right.
So he obviously heads there. I thought that they would have maybe done a wee bit more inside there in terms of like just because it was such a big kind of place and setting that they would have maybe done a wee bit more of him like going about in there and different stuff that he could get and shopping trolleys full of toys or anything like that. But he's very much quite subtle that way. Is our Kevin? He's he likes at that time he goes and he's only trying to buy a toothbrush. He is sensible. Like, he doesn't have an idea on the concept of what room service is apparently, but when he goes out, he's definitely cautious about spending his money to the point, obviously, that at this point you don't know who he is, but your man at the till's like, oh, that's a lot of money, and he's like, oh, I've got a lot of grandmothers, and it's just, that's fine, he's got mountains of fucking cash. But just when you mentioned earlier, obviously we have a lot of moments of growth, personal growth for with Kevin in terms of this massive fucking maturity that he's got, and obviously right away he's donating money and whatever else. He kind of shows like that he does have that softer side, and as much as he does annoy the family, he's still a kid, so it just comes with the territory. But he is all heart, to be fair. And that scene, and obviously gets his turtle doves, whatever, which obviously we'll come back to later on in the film. But that toy store bit,
gives that to charity. So he donates some of his money to charity because Duncan's toy store is going to donate all the money that they take in that day, which is Christmas Eve in the film, I believe. All the money they take in that day is going to go to the child's hospital, so there's a big trunk of cash sitting there. And as we find this out and he gets his wee free turtle doves, you actually go to the Wet Bandits and some plastic doll houses.
Aye, that's really cool that they're in there, almost that kind of thingy, Judge Judy, like that kind of puppets, like in the theatre, because you can only see their heads kind of thing. Like they're definitely like having that bickering back and forward, as they often do, because the two of them are a bit fucking smart as a sponge. But it's funny seeing them, the two of them. They're ridiculous, and they're somehow inside these Wendy houses for some reason, like rather than just like casually walking about this. Like,
I think it's funny that they're talking to each other, they're in different houses and they're talking to each other and they're talking about their plans, about how robbing the shop. But every time an adult walks by, the both of them they just don't put their head in, they just keep sticking their head out, they just stop talking and looking at each other. and then just continue when somebody walks by. See if you were the adult, would you not be like, why the fuck are they two guys just hanging on to his fucking windows?
Watching Wayne's. You know what I mean? It's just like, just not a good scene. It's not a good look. But no, definitely. I mean, I thought, as like I said, I felt like they maybe would have done a wee bit more. Just like somebody mentioned, like Big earlier, like when he first goes into the shop, like he's running around all the different toys, and it's that marketing opportunity probably more than anything else that he's going around and he's trying all this different stuff. But he's maybe that's the point, is that he's in for what he's in for, and it's more meaningful that he has this conversation, with the owner of the stores. We find out whatever later and stuff.
You know what? There's always a callback to your childhood. I always remember looking at this shop and going, that shop looks fucking amazing. Like, just as a child, it just looked absolutely incredible, and it's like, I'd love a toy shop to look like that. And they never obviously did.
No, over here they did, no.
Every time I always seen it when I was a child, I used to think that toy shop just looks like it'd be fucking amazing to go to.
We never really had that here, though. I mean, Toys R Us was a thing.
Nah, it was just always big supermarket type toy shops we've had here. No, really.
Toys R Us was even was probably more. It was just like a flat, fucking half stocked place, wasn't it? And they went out the game
store.
They went out 2000s, I think, did they know, or something like that? Something to that point.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. It was maybe 4 years ago or something like 4 or 5 years ago.
I thought they left like governing that, like, didn't they? The 2000s.
So that's whenever I bought her trampoline there when she was younger. So that's just when they were closing.
Oh, was it? I thought it was also.
So that's maybe when she was about 4. So about 5 years ago.
Right.
What do you think about Duncan's?
It's Disneyland.
It's
a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where, like you guys, I mean, no local store has ever looked like that I've ever been to, where I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. I mean, you look at reference Big again, where it's like that moment where you feel again like you've entered Narnia almost, and it's through the eyes of Kevin or Tom Hanks's character, of like the way they look at it makes it even more magical. And I think they do a great job at that, because there are like movies that do have toy stores and you'll walk in and hey, it's really cool and fun, but it is seeing it through Kevin's eyes. Or a great example of this is Elf, where Will Ferrell's like a 30-year-old man, but he's walking into like this toy store and he's seen it and it's bringing it to life, and it feels more magical because he thinks it is. And then you meet Duncan, who, spoiler alert, sorry, I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but the old guy at the cash register, who may or may not be Duncan. You meet him, and like his genuine care for what this place is and what this place stands for is another part that I think makes just that toy store alone a character again, where it's like, oh man, that matters and that's iconic, and I know this place and I feel like this is a real place despite it not being a real thing. Also, it is Duncan's toy chest. I looked it up. Like, I love how much this one feels like Christmas in almost a more Christmas way than the first one. I feel like the first one is a mixture of Christmas and Thanksgiving, and it's a holiday. This one feels like it's Christmas, where you're going around all the iconic places. You're seeing Times Square. You're seeing Rockefeller Plaza. Like, those moments feel so magical, and I love feeling like that warmth that you get when you walk in there and you're seeing him talk to him, and then Kevin doing the right thing in that moment and being like, no, I would just spend the money to, buy candy or something that would kill me, or whatever he says. Like, that moment is growth that I think Kevin's always exhibited, being smarter than every other child around him. But it is a genuine moral growth too that I think he took away from the neighbor in the first one, and adapts to that here, where it is like, oh, he's learned, and as he's going on, he's learning more. I mean, even the immediate reaction to Pigeon Lady, and then the retraction of his reaction, where he's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. Like, I didn't mean to react. I shouldn't have reacted like that. Is such a genuine moment that I think is well illustrated in the toy store, where it is like, okay, he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, the toy store, as I say, is short-lived, but it does set the scene and sets the stakes. So it's, fair dues. It does exactly what it needs to be. As much as I've said that I expected a wee bit more, it doesn't need it, which is exactly perfect with what they've done. They've shown. As Gary said, they've got a wee bit of charitable donations, and on probably their busiest year, busiest day of the year, they're going to donate all this stuff, and they've told them exactly where the stuff is going to go. Kevin is obviously heading back outside, and then who do we see as the Sticky Bandits, fresh off the heels of their new home base, apparently, where they hatch all their plans. They're sitting there, and they're obviously they've clocked eyes on our Kevin. So they're setting up that part where he's, hiya pal, and he just fucking screams his wee lungs out, and nobody seems to bat an eyelid that these two grown guys are chasing him through the town. So as I mentioned earlier, Gillian has said a few bits and pieces, and she chimed in here to go, what the fuck is he, some sort of mastermind that he thinks to buy these beads, and suddenly he's just going to know to use them when there's nobody else about, and then he fucking lets them loose. Again, it's just pure comedy. Is it mixed in with like just this fucking sadistic mind that Kevin seems to have as well, that he can just come up with this stuff. Anyway,
do you know the scene he actually screams? I was watching it the day, as I said. I was just watching like laser focus today, and the bit that he screams, there's actually a police officer, and you see him walking behind Marv and Harry, and I'm like to myself, literally any police officer should probably be like, what the fuck's wrong? Like, what's happening? And you just see him, and he just like that, like walks right by and looks, and just like keeps walking. And like two grown guys walking up to a wee boy screaming, and he's just like, okay. And then just walks away.
It's New York. And that's just what it's like. It's New York. So he does the off.
I just noticed that. I noticed that the day.
He's away, and he goes back to his home base. Unbeknownst to him, they're setting him up because they're wanting to catch him out and come up and kick him out. Kick this poor child out to the curb on a stolen credit card claim, and obviously they go up, and I love this scene that they set up where all the fucking people who seem to work in this hotel all walk in at the one time, and obviously they do the whole the gangster film, as Gary said. They makes another appearance, and he's expert pause and playing. You can literally hear him laughing like when he's in between the pauses and stuff. But anyway, so he manages to convince them all to get on their knees, and as Gary said, you can't stop watching. Your man at the front there, and he's just ridiculously funny.
I love you.
Exactly. That's big declaration.
See, one of the jokes is even funnier. It's literally just before that, and it's the gangster, and he's talking to his girlfriend in the actual movie, but he's obviously pausing it and stuff like that, and he goes like, you were here last night, weren't you? And the guy's like, oh, I was. He's thinking about that was him that was in the shower. And he says, you were here last night, you were smooching with my brother. And he's like, and they're all looking at him like, what the fuck? Were you up here smooching with somebody's brother? And then, he's like, no, you've been smooching with everybody. Mo, wee Al with a gimpy leg, Cliff, and then they all turn around to the old security guard, and he's got a name band on it, says Cliff. And he's like, no!
That was so good. I loved that. Just again, this genius to bring up stuff, just peppering in these wee things, and then obviously he manages to talk them into on your knees, and that kind of thing, and then we break out the fucking Tommy gun again, which just it's just ridiculous that it even occurs. But Kevin, being the wido that he is, hangs about rather than just like he could have escaped like 10 minutes ago. Like once the Tommy gun goes off, like he could have bolted, and instead he's got to pull his faces and drop his lines before he runs out that fire exit. But
I think he's a line.
Hoodie's like, what line?
I genuinely am drawing a blank. I'm trying to think.
It's the on you go, Gary.
Christmas, you filthy animal.
There you go.
Oh,
Ready? Pause. And a happy New Year.
yeah.
Love it. So he obviously does the boost straight in to our sticky bandits who are just straight up kidnapping now. Unabashedly kidnap him is the only thing you can describe. Now I wrote a note on
also,
here.
There's a gun out in public.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody cares.
If they had just left him alone, they could have went on and robbed this place and left, and he would never have known. But instead, they've got to stalk out his hotel and wait for him. And I mean, like, he wants away for them as much as anything. So you've got to just imagine that he wouldn't have went anywhere near them because he's not got a cause at this point of the film. He doesn't know that they're going to rob the toy store or anything like that. So they have literally like watched him go into this hotel, decided to wait for him coming out, and now they've just straight up fucking kidnapped him. Which is just one of the kind of funny things that you would just be better off. Literally, he would be better off just ignoring him, and everything would have been fucking fine for the sticky bandits. They would be fucking millionaires by now, I'm sure. If they were smart enough to commit any crimes. We obviously see, like, if it flips over and the family are having an absolute horrid time, not because they miss Kevin or anything, but because it's fucking raining down in Florida, which is just funny in its own right. Which is obviously when they figure out that he's in New York, and they are buzzing to leave. Again, only because it's raining, not because apparently any of them fucking miss Kevin whatsoever.
Two things that I love about these scenes is I love three things. Well, no, I don't love the other one, but what you're talking about, the maturity, how more mature this film is, like the talk and use about a gun in this film.
Aye.
Like, it's like, I've got a gun, like, if you make any moves, I think he literally says, like, you'll be blowing bubbles at the back of your head or something like that.
Aye.
It's something like that, and it's like, wow, the stakes have really rose for, like, in the first film, Kevin was just like a nuisance in the way. Them trying to rob this house, but in this one they're like, we're gonna kill you, like, you're dead, like, this is the end for you. And they literally, as Marv is telling them their story, and Kevin's cheekily recording it on his walkie-talkie thing, Marv's literally telling them, like, we're going to rob Duncan's toy store, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and he's like, why are you telling him this? And he's like, he's going to be dead anyway, what's the matter? And also, the second thing I love is when the family are in, where are they? Miami. They're in Miami, and it's the callback to the first film, where they're all sitting watching the film, and it's in Spanish this time, whereas it was in French the last time, and they're all just like watching it, even though they probably don't understand it, and I love that wee callback to the first film.
Aye.
I'll also add that, of course, they chose to go to Florida, because they all deserve to be in hell. For what they did. I'll tell you what.
From a resident American Gary laughing at that one, we can tell that that's an absolute adapt joke. So yeah, perfect.
It was.
Perfect.
God bless America.
Absolutely. No, forgive me because I never took a note. How does he escape for them? Is that the scene with the police person and anything like that? Like, how does he get away from them?
This is the point that they stand behind the same lady that has already slapped Marv.
Oh yeah.
Kevin slaps her arse.
Aye. Which isn't weird.
She slaps Marv, and then he's like, it was him.
Aye.
It was him what?
Aye. Aye. Sorry, I never took that note in, so no, that's great. He manages to get himself out of the road. And Gary mentioned about the adult themes and stuff. Just echoing that with the next part that I've written down, where he meets the certain ladies of the night, and one of them offers to read him a bedtime story. I thought that was
looking for a bedtime story.
I thought that was quite seedy, man. Like, I just think that was like just do you know what I mean? That was just like, I know they're talking about killing the boy, but I don't think he really is quite old enough for anything before that killing. So it's one of the weird lines. Obviously they're just trying to set up like how much of what he's got to sell into, because there's homelessness there, and people like fucking crazy folk and jump inside taxis, and this is one of the things that Chilean says, like, I mean, how fucking ridiculous is it that this Wayne gets into a taxi and the taxi driver's first instinct is to scare the Wayne, sorry, by saying like it doesn't get any better in here, do you know what I mean, like inside this taxi, you know what I mean? So he just goes to the taxi and runs like fuck. So it's funny
I think
to see that.
There you go.
I think that's a good part of earlier what I was saying, where New York is a character.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's from. I don't know where this family's from. I
think it's Chicago.
Is it Chicago? They're like in
so.
the suburbs at the of Chicago, and it's for the most part a wholesome looking town, where it is very much like, oh, everybody's your neighbor, how you doing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so to pluck him out of that and put him in New York, where everything is massive and grand and everything becomes scarier, and where you're saying like the maturity level comes in, I do think that plays well into the fact that like New York is threatening. Like the stories that I've only ever heard from friends, that is like, I would never go to New York. New York sounds like a monstrosity of an experience, and there are people who are like, even though it was horrible, I had a great time. I'm like, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
But I think Kevin illustrates what I think of New York as an adult, and what I'd probably think of it as a kid too, where it is like, he's seen it as a playground in the beginning, but the more you live in it, the worse it gets. Like, I thought that was an interesting part of it too, where, the first one is very much like, oh, you slipped on some, jingle balls and you had snowballs thrown at you and like things like that. And this is guns and sex workers asking to read you bedtime stories.
This is also the time capsule thing, because I always remember watching, my wife went through a wee spell of watching the early 90s Saturday Night Lives, and they were always talking about how bad like the knife crime, I think at that point, like early 90s, New York was terrible for like weapon violence at the time as well. So I think that's just also a encapsulation, a time and place where New York had a terrible reputation at this point for being such a violent city as well. Just to I would frame of mind at timescales.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think that's a good point of like, okay, yeah, I mean, they're capturing the culture.
Yep, definitely.
So he's obviously out and about, and I'm sure it's around about here when obviously the dad says like, I think it's slightly before that, the dad's obviously mentioned about the brother's house, and we first see the flat. It's under renovation. Well, he says it's renovation, but it's just like a fucking straight up abandoned house at this point. The way that the flat kind of is shown initially, before Kevin leaves, obviously, to start with, and continues kind of wandering around the city, which is like obviously where he finds himself back in the park again. And he obviously kind of runs away initially for the pigeon woman, but you can see that obviously it's like, again, that character growth where it's like, I'm gonna like, fuck this, like there must be something like more with this person, like I'm going to turn it in and I'm going to speak to her initially instead, and and it focuses initially around the the pigeons to start with, and just that inquisitive side of him, and you know, which is great to kind of see that as well. And obviously they kind of touch on like that nobody's later on they go for some warmth, end up in the theatre, and they start talking about, you know, that she doesn't have any friends, and he's even solving her problems, where she's, you know, he's in his usual Kevin way. It's like maybe if you wear clothes that aren't covered in pigeon poop, you know, and she's like, well, I suppose I don't really give people the opportunity to come and speak to me, you know what I mean? So I think that's that just kind of shows, you know, the heat that this wee guy's got on him, that he can offer advice and point somebody in the right direction in terms of, you know, what maybe she's missing out on. So they have a good heart to heart. It does Kevin. So I can't speak to any word specifically, but
what I liked about this scene is exactly the same what I liked about like the old man and the gritter situation, was Kevin's passing this knowledge off. The way he says it is like, oh, I think it's his granda. He says, oh, my granda says this and that, and you know, he's not passing it off as, oh, I mean, I think you're doing the wrong thing. It's more just like, I've heard people say this advice, and he's giving it off, and it's actually really, really good advice that he's given unknowingly, I suppose.
Aye.
And I just, that's also that childish sort of, I'm just going to say what I want, but actually the exact same with the gritter guy. It was actually probably what they had to hear, and I like that as well. That's really good. And on a serious note, how is that woman well when she's covered in bird shit constantly?
I know.
That woman should have some sort of sickness, blindness, or something like that. No way you can wear a jacket covered in bird shit and a hat covered in bird shit and think you're alright.
It's resistance. She's built up a fucking resistance to it. It's fine.
Yeah.
She's got feathers and shit like that.
She's
truly
got
is a
feathers.
bandit.
Aye, 100%. I quite liked her character, and I quite liked the fact that obviously, you know, they go and he's showing her like she's showing him like the theatre, and you know, she's saying all these different things that she's managed to like witness, you know, as being there. So she's obviously quite clearly, you know, educated as well, and has a lot of, I mean, it's not like crazy bird lady, it's just she is her own person.
Yeah, it's more like she's cultured, but just maybe lost her way in society a wee bit.
Well, yeah, I think that plays into what we were talking about earlier. The difference between her and the neighbor is he is a sadder character, and he also carries around a lot of shame, where I don't think he has shame, he has heartbreak, and I feel like that was more relatable, where it didn't, not to be rude to the neighbor, but it is like, ugh, man, you're kind of a buzzkill, where she is more like a, yeah, you know, I didn't get to have children, and that sucked, and my marriage didn't work out, and like those things are more you can empathize more than just sympathize with that, where he was, you know, in a church setting, and it felt like the end of days when he talked, and like he hadn't seen his daughter in 52 years, or his son, or whatever it was. It's like, okay, I'm kind of checking out at this, because it's just a little too sad for me, where when she and Kevin talk, like you guys are saying, there is a banter there, and they are joking, and there's levity, and like when he does get to the bit where he's giving the advice of like, well, if you shut your heart out, you know, it's like when I had sneakers and I put them in a box, and I put the box up on the shelf because I just didn't want to get them dirty, and then by the time I decided, well, I'll wear my sneakers now, they didn't fit anymore. It's like she's humoring him in that moment, but she is like, there's a bit of wisdom in there. Like, I like that she's also realistic. It isn't this revelation that her whole life has changed now because of Kevin, like saying his sneaker analogy. Like, they have a good camaraderie, and an organic one that also feeds into her character, having not had a kid of her own, and then being able to speak to him. You're like, oh man, she would have been a good mom, and like seeing that kind of side makes her even more endearing. While Kevin's currently being chased by 2 mobsters who want to murder him, so like to have that safety net around him is nice.
Aye. So obviously Kevin makes his way away from the bird lady and eventually sees the kid in the window of the house in it, and obviously starts to recall the fact that where the money's gone to from the toy store, and what's going to happen, and where they're going to steal all of that, and decides, nah, fuck this, and decides to just go and, simply put, set about these 2 guys in what can only be described as entrapment, by going and setting up this fucking death house, and then tracking them. So it's not like they're breaking into his fucking house. He's literally trying to lure them like Jigsaw, if you saw, into some sort of
He really is
some sort of
Play games.
sinister trap. So like I did last time, I'm not going to run through every single thing that our Kevin sets up in this house. I'll kind of leave it to you guys to maybe throw it.
Smell like kerosene.
Exactly.
Can I just say, see that tune when he's setting up the house? That's an absolute fucking banger of a tune, by the way.
Yeah.
But see, when you hear it, it definitely sounds like a Harry Potter song. Like, I know this came before Harry Potter, but it's good. It was dun 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 dun. There it goes.
I believe that both of these movies are composed by John Williams.
Yeah.
There you go.
If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. But yeah. So,
it
would
that
make
Harry
sense.
Potter bit was quite good.
That
whole bit was quite good. We'll put that in Harry Potter.
You get that in there. Get that in there. So I don't know if you want to throw out 1 or 2 of your kind of favourite bits that you've kind of seen that he's obviously set up and fucking set about them with.
The whole brick sequence.
Yeah.
Everything about that. Oh yeah, we'll throw another one. No. Marv's slowly dying. It's like I half expected, because he gets hit so many times. I'm like, well, this is unrealistic. So the next brick must make birds fly around his head. Like it's gonna turn into an actual cartoon at this point.
Because I think even the first one was fucking unrealistic. That'd have killed him. That would have absolutely fucking killed him.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, I mean, like, the other it would have been blood splatter. The other bit of torture that I'm like, okay, this is like a Wile E. Coyote bit where he's like walked off the cliff and he's still standing there and doesn't realize he's about to fall to his death. Is like when Joe Pesci walks out the door, his head's on fire, and he's just like kind of standing there like, what is that? It smells good. Like whatever.
I was laughing at that scene, like, because I actually wrote like almost a similar kind of thing to you, because he's obviously, you know, he goes in and he's turning on the lights and it's that false sense of security. Eventually, you know, pulls one, nothing happens, suddenly his fucking hat's on fire. But the fact that he thinks like, oh, I'm going to do a fucking headstand inside this fucking toilet bowl, and there's obviously enough fucking kerosene in that toilet to blow up the entire fucking block. Never mind the house, which it doesn't even do.
Oppenheimer.
So I put a note on there. It's just on my I wrote down in my notes that it's almost kind of the cartoon, like kind of, you know, Tom and Jerry damage range, you know, like where it only affects like the person that's getting hurt, like it does no damage to like the surroundings or anything, like it's only the person, like quite self-contained in that self. So I mean, for me, the bit that I thought was fucking equally as is killing, because it will literally be a killing blow, is when your man obviously is just, you know, fell in all the paint, and he's going to wash his hands, and he's fucking electrified the fucking the post. So he goes to use the turn the two handles, and literally you can see like his skeleton, he's getting electrocuted that much. Like he's not getting back up, but he's not even hitting the ground. Like he should be soldered to those watt taps, like without a doubt. Absolutely soldered with it moving. So it's full of comedy with Marv, with that, especially that paint scene, like where he's like slipping, like with no momentum, and then suddenly like he slips like enough to like slip forward like into all the paint. It's like, come on, the fuck, man, come on.
What I always like about that bit is when actually, like, you see him, he's got paint in his mouth and all that. I love it, like the inconvenience of that. I love it, like it's not just like he's got paint and he's, you know, he's still got, you see his eyes. I love it. It's just absolute matted on him, because you just think to yourself how horrible that would feel, and he's spitting it out and stuff like that. You're like, oh, it's disgusting. I always like the bit, just purely just because it's a callback to the paint scene, the paint cans getting flung, and they're like, oh, remember this, and we're like, oh, let's pretend to walk upstairs. Ouch! Oh, Marvin!
They're laughing at each other, aren't they?
And they're like, brilliant. Like, do it again. Smacked me on my mouth, and then they're like, let's go. This big fucking bar just comes right out and punts the both of them right out their trainers.
Right down a fucking story floor.
The both of them are just lying there like, I love it. And then when they get up, Marv's trying to build his no, is it Harry? What one's Harry? Is he the Afro one?
Marv's the daft one.
Marv's trying to build, he's building that kind of rickety wee shack, and he's trying to like build a ladder up, and Harry's like, he's like, is this safe? And he's like, aye, and he shakes it, and it's pure wobbly.
The full hang wobbles.
He's like, aye, we'll go up.
We'll be fine. I like the fact that even after the metal pole's done the damage in itself, and these literally like cuts the ropes, and the full hang's just fucking tumbling towards them. Like, if I was there to, genuinely, I would have just laid there and just gave in. Like, no chance would I have get back up. I would have just went, do you know what, it's time to fucking either try and get out of here or what. Like, this cunt's going to kill us, you know what I mean? He's going to take us out of the game. Like, there's no question that he's going to take us out of the game. But
I do like when they go up the stair, and it's the toolbox.
I just fucking, that toolbox, not a one fucking thing about that would have even remotely have been fucking what happened.
What's that noise? Dum 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 dum. And they get both of them got squashed, and it's their noses. The both their noses. It looks brilliant. He's like, I think it was a toolbox.
It was obviously it's for kids anyway. It is what it is, but it's just that way where it's you're kind of thinking, surely this is a fucking like too much of a fucking cartoony setup, but you know, whatever. It's the films, that's what it is. But it was like fucking dancing its way down the stairs. Like, it would have just fucking fell. It fell flat on its fucking face and skated down. But anyway, that is what it is. It's fucking funny on its same. Hoodie still.
Hoodie, I mentioned the kerosene.
Oh yeah, that was class. Kerosene on the rope was absolutely fucking brilliant. I actually wrote, one of my first notes was the fact, because he just plucks the kerosene out of nowhere. It's like, who the fuck is using kerosene? You know what I mean? Like, just how the fuck does he know what to do with it? But anyway, he's a smart kid. So he's doused the ropes. It's just that way that he does the off, and they're fucking, you know, obviously running after him. And it's that doing. He's like, hey, does this smell like kerosene? Just like, oh, Merry Christmas, boys. And obviously, you know, with enough fire on that rope that it probably would have burnt the whole house down. But anyway, as what it is.
Then the land, which sets up the varnish landing back on top of them again.
Exactly.
All these paint tins of varnish fucking land oil.
Yeah. Yeah, I love when that. It also makes me feel sick when you see it, because it's just that consistency thing for it. But I thought that was quite interesting that obviously they managed to find a place to do that. because obviously he doesn't want to set anything up. I think they don't say it, but obviously he'll know why he'd be setting it up in the toy store, because he's not wanting to cause any damage there. So the fact that there's conveniently this other place that you can do all that, and it's very low impact to whoever is gonna go back in that house again. He's doesn't really matter. He's obviously done different things. He's cut broken ladders and all that stuff that we kind of skipped to a bit. Some man, he's set up all his traps, and they've worked to a point, and just as you think he's going to get away with it, he falls in his arse, which I don't think you ever really see coming. You think usually these guys have going to have had enough, and that's it. End of story. He's going to get away and whatever. But no, they managed to get a hold of him, and that's when our best buddy, the hero of the film, the bird lady, comes to his rescue. And I love that scene with the it's not just her that shows it anywhere. It's like the pigeons, and they build up, and they slowly build up, and it's coming, like 100% it's coming. But you just get that kind of scene where the birds are there, she's fucking there, and everybody eventually fucking descends on the two sticky bandits, and that's exactly what they are at that fucking point. It's covered in varnish and absolutely making a pig's ear is normal. So I love that side, that wee twist that you kind of Kevin's. It's not that he's knows, but anything can happen. It's not that he's no bright or anything, but literally anything can happen, and he's just fucking took a tumble right as the last bit of his plans obviously coming together, and he's managed to eventually the guys have managed to get fucking caught out. So anything else we cover there before we move on to the last?
There's only one scene that isn't for this part that I wanted to go back on that we missed. And I think it's one of the funniest scenes in the entire movie, is when Kevin's family comes to New York and they're sitting talking to the concierge, and she's sitting saying, the dad's like, right, I'm going to go to the police station, make sure the police are doing whatever they can do to get Kevin back. And the concierge is like, I mean, it's like a needle in a haystack out there. And the mum's like, the way I'm feeling, no mugger or rapist is going to get me. I could take them all on. And then the concierge says something again, and she just turns around and slaps him. And it's the way his face goes, and he's got that quivering lip, and he's like shaking, like, okay, ma'am, wrap up one.
Nice.
I think that's one of the best scenes in the entire film. It's just his face.
She definitely keys a bit for it. It's just finally fucking showing a bit of emotion here. The last obviously bit, she comes to the rescue, and then she eventually the mum obviously figures out, hold on a minute, I fucking know exactly where he is. They're kind of talking and thinking, Kevin doesn't want for it, and he just wants to be at home, with his Christmas tree, and that's obviously when she figures out that he's going to be at the the Rockefeller tree, which is funny in itself. Obviously we're looking, and it's another, again, echoing back to the first film, where they're it's a learning moment for him, and he's full of regret and doesn't actually want any of the stuff that he's said, and then the shite things that he said to his mum and whatever else, because he doesn't hold back. But I mean, what kid does at that age? They just say whatever they want, and they no regret about what they're going to, whose feelings are going to hurt. So anyway, so he's taking all his sins back, and eventually obviously the mum clocks Kevin, runs around to him, and then just stops dead, which I just felt was just like the strangest thing. Like the first thing she should have done, and I know they'd literally hug like 2 seconds later, but she should have fucking ran fucking right out of him and just fucking grabbed the hood of him at the first sight that she could. So maybe that's something. Maybe speak to the relationship, maybe our character, but
I love that.
Definitely
I love everything he's saying. As you say, he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for this, and I'm sorry for calling Buzz this, and I'm sorry for doing that." He's like, "I mean, all I want to see is my mum for Christmas," and then he says it, and then he turns round and he sees his mum, and you hear him muttering to himself. And he goes, Wow, that was fast.
Aye. Aye. That was so good. Loved it. Hoodie, have I missed it? And I've put across the full thing before we get into the closing scenes there between the start of the film and now that you want to touch on?
I feel like Pigeon Lady should have a spin-off Disney Plus show where we follow what happens after he gives her his dad's credit card or whatever he does. I do really like the like full circle moment of him giving her the other turtle dub. I think that's really sweet. That's nice.
That's a good point, actually. I did like that because obviously that's the kind of closing point. Is you get a wee bit of redemption for Buzz as well. It's the usual, obviously they're about to start ripping on all these presents that the toy companies obviously delivered as part of this nice gesture.
Can I just say, see that part, see as a child, see when you're watching it, you're like Santa's brought all the presents, and you actually hear Kevin's mum and dad in the scene they go, did you do this? And they're like, no, I've never done this. And then it's not until we go to the thing, and they're all on it, and they're all about to open the presents. As you said, Buzz is going, wait, just wait. He's like, all right, if we weren't late, it was all Kevin's fault, but Kevin should get the first to opening presents. And then you see him looking at a present, he's going like, who's Duncan? And then that's all he says. And then that's it, they all start opening the presents. But see, as a child, I was just like, Santa brought all them.
You see them?
It's nice. It's nice looking back, like as an adult and a child, how you're getting different bits and pieces.
You see them getting brought in the morning though, or the night before.
Just a child. They don't think of that.
It's like a big moving van. All these presents they're bringing in.
You don't think that. You just think Christmas Day people open presents. As a child.
All the times you have watched this, you one they're very clever growing up, right? Anyway, so but I'm sure. Buzz obviously is Gary mentioned. I've got to call you Kevin there. But Buzz obviously gives him the present, and then in true Kevin style, he sneaks off again when everybody's distracted. So it's just destined to happen over and over and over again. Anyway, so I actually wrote my notes. This wee fucker doesn't stop because he just seems to keep fucking sneaking away from everybody. And as Hoodie mentioned, his kind of final act, the film is handing over to the Pigeon Lady the other half of the turtle dove ornament and whatever else. But I thought that was a nice point. Obviously, there's the final delivery, the final line is obviously, him, Buzz looking at the bill, and the dad obviously getting a hold of it to find out they've spent £967 on bloody room service, which is just absolutely ridiculous. But aye, Hoodie, I'm with you, mate. I'd really enjoyed that touch, that last touch in itself, that they have the turtle dove's been handed over. Really, really cool to kind of have that kind of thing, that touch at the very end.
No only does he get the homeless woman a fresh meal, a fresh set of clays. He gives her a porcelain, half a turtle dove. I don't even think he gave her the one with the ribbon on it. I think it's literally the useless one with a magnet. It can't hang anywhere. It's like, that's what a homeless person needs, a porcelain dove.
That's it. Well, it's the sentiment. You know what I mean? Duncan says you give that other one to somebody significant to you, or whatever the line is. But you know what I mean? That's he's choosing the person that's showing him more care than his actual mum did. You know what I mean? So that's just that's just what it is. But aye, Hoodie, what about you for the closing points and the closing thoughts on the film before we close it for the episode?
I think this movie's great. I think for all of its plot holes, there's way more joy that I get out of this one than even the first one at times, where I'm like, oh man, I could watch this and never get tired, like I said. of watching it. The first one, I also just think is like got the Mount Rushmore of classic Christmas movies that goes up there. But for a sequel to pull this off and doing the same thing over again, but not having it feel tired, is very impressive to me. And then it does improve on those things in ways that I think are better. Like we've touched on with the Pigeon Lady, I think they do a better job there. The same with what I've said about Marv of like, I think he's a better character in this one. Like I think they made him feel like less of a sidekick and more of an equal to Harry, where I think they knew the star power they had in Joe Pesci, but didn't understand the star power they had in the guy who plays Marv, who I don't remember his name, unfortunately. But he is a star, you know? He is a star.
Daniel Stern, his name is.
What's his name?
Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern. Okay, well, Daniel Stern's great. And you know what? He should be in Home Alone 7. If he wants to be. But yeah, like I think they do a great job of building upon and keeping the same bits without making it ever feel like I'd rather watch this. Like we've said several times, these are just back-to-backs. You just watch them. Yeah. They're a whole movie, the whole experience. I love them. Yeah. I also think this one has a better ending. I like this ending more, where it is that sweet moment with him and her, and it does feel like closed. Like this is the end of their of Kevin's story, where the first one does feel like, oh, you can make a sequel. This one, they were like, no, this is it. And then they stuck to that, and they just never made another one. There are no other Home Alones.
There's
it just ends.
No,
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. It was really cool that they did that.
They knew the limit. They appreciated the limit.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't milk this thing.
No.
They wanted to keep something sacred.
Gary, you have closing thoughts and anything we've missed for the film?
No, everything Hoodie says I totally agree with. If it's not in your top 5 must watches for Christmas, then your name's Sean McBride.
100%. 100%. I don't really have
Next
much.
year we're reviewing The Grinch.
Aye. I don't have much else, and I don't want to open my can of worms because it's 25 past 12 and I'm fucking feeling it. But I don't think any have. So if you have, then a quick thought on it would be fine. But if you haven't,
2 out of 5.
would you watch the remake of the first one that came out fairly recently?
No.
I've seen all of them.
You wouldn't watch it, Gary?
No.
See, I don't even have an affinity that much for it, and I don't even really feel too much of a pull. Hoodie, what was your very quick thoughts on the remake?
We're talking about the Ellie Kemper one, right?
No, the new one.
Aye.
Whatever it was.
Aye.
The one that was on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's good, but I also think that it's fun enough if you have a family and you have Disney Plus. It falls in line with the rest of these sequels that don't exist, where it's like, I guess I like Home Alone 3 more than the rest of them. Of like, it's fun. I like his incorporation of like his pets and stuff. I think that's a fun twist on how you torture these burglars. But like, all of them are in that same bucket of, man, you guys did not understand what John Hughes was trying to do here.
Yeah.
They didn't get it.
I mean,
So,
I can't believe they went for Home Alone 1 to 2 and then end up making 10 Saw films with it. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
100%. 100%. Awesome.
Yeah. You know what? Buzz is in the new one. It's a spoiler.
Very good, very good.
And I'm going to spoil this movie real quick.
Go for
Buzz is in the new one. He's like a lousy security guard. And he's like, I could have been something if it but he's like, as he's listening to the radio, they're like, and Kevin McAllister's new security firm is opening another plant soon. So, Kevin became a security corporate. I don't know what you call it. There you go.
That's quite good actually. I quite like that. We touch a wee nod
Yeah.
to how he keeps things secure as opposed to him breaking into places and setting up all sorts of traps. That's been the episode. I obviously appreciate everybody listening for as long as you have. If you haven't, then fuck yous. But I appreciate I appreciate everybody. All the support that we've had. It's another year under the belt. It's a second Christmas episodes. Just we're 26 episodes deep in it. It might not seem like a lot to a lot of people because most people do episodes weekly and whatever, and we just don't really have that time to do that. And that's fine for us. I like the pace that we're going. It's really, really good. I'd like to try and record some double episodes, make more an effort to do some double episodes next year that where we record for this kind of duration but can split it over that 2 week period. We do 2 episodes in the can type thing, and I think we can maybe fit that kind of thing in at some point soon. It's good. 100%. It's good to make time and do these review episodes. I probably, in reflection, we could have probably split the review separately, but it is what it is. We've got an absolute banging episode here in the bag, and hope that everybody enjoyed it. Hope everybody has a great break over the festive period and has an absolutely fantastic new year as we sign off here. We've already outlined the plans and the start of the episode. We're going to try and get an early episode in start next year with Rahul. Obviously subject to availability. We'll try and get that one recorded as quick as possible to reduce any issues with bids and picks that people want that are for games that are coming out in January, and we'll start the whole ball rolling again. I guess we're just going to declare me the fucking winner of the crown, so we'll see that as well in
Absolutely.
January. And I appreciate again my co-hosts for everything. We've had another fantastic year. We're just getting kind of I'd like to say myself that we're getting better and better. Setups a bit cleaner as well, and easier for me in terms of getting things uploaded and everything else. And brilliant. Thanks again for everybody for listening, and take care.
Yeah, this has been another special year, and I thank you all for having me on your journey as well. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful new year and a happy holidays.
Goodbye. Filthy animals.
Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Vault Dwellers Podcast. You can keep up with Gary Moore at Gary Moore's Art over on Instagram. Keep up with myself, Twitter, on Twitch at MrMac92, and you can't keep up with Hoodie at The Penny Marvels over on Instagram. A very special shout out to Al the Predator Tribesman for creating the intro and outro music. Thanks again for listening. Take care. Bye.